Good morning and welcome to the Inforunners. Good evening and good night. I guess we said those two. I'm Execute. I'm very, very tired. As is Algared. We've both had very little sleep today, so this is going to be a very weird stream.
Chat knows I've already had a little, very little, you can already tell.
I can see you're dotted through there. I noticed that as soon as I got up, I go, what has Algared been doing? He's been here for hours. What is going on? So, yes.
Yes.
Couldn't
They were
sleep.
encouraging me to usurp the channel and start streaming.
He can't.
No.
He doesn't.
Not yet.
He can't do it. I wish he could. That'd be great. I could take weeks off then. It'd be fantastic. I could just sleep in bed and go, yeah, not this week, Algared. Yeah, you could take over. And just, leave him spinning plates.
And there are requests for us to do 24/7.
Oof. That would be
because
a tough
I love
one.
it so much.
Maybe we could do a charity live stream like Paul's doing this weekend that we're both a part of. Where you and I are tailing that. You're picking up the start, and I'm coming home at the end. Thank you for the subscription, Nova 42. 7 months. Yep. Wow.
Awesome. And
that's almost as long as we've been doing this.
And Joe Demo became a YouTube member once again, I believe.
I'm just going to let you know, just a bit of working. You need to straighten your camera. I don't think we had time to do that because I didn't share the screen early enough. So can you straighten your camera for me, please? First time chatter.
What with my camera, sorry?
Just straighten it. It wasn't straight. You're sitting off like this. And there we go. You look like Cyber. Like you look like you feel Algared. You look tired. Like you're leaning off to us.
I feel tired. I feel tired. I am tired.
All right. Yeah.
I feel like Pickett, I have no division.
Yes.
I've had no sleep. Yeah.
Yeah, so just to let you guys know, Algared told me that he'd been up for 5 hours before we started. Joy. That's all I can say. Joy. That would suck. Right. I'm going to get the bot started.
And as we were talking beforehand, he was saying, has it started to hit yet? And I said, yeah, it started to hit me at 4 o'clock.
Oof.
Which, at that point, it was too late to go to get some sleep. But hey, that's life.
We'll get there. I'm usually able to struggle through it for 3 hours and then go back to bed myself. So
it did mean I did 4 hours of box hunting.
Now someone told me in Discord the other day after I told you my method, you hated it. It is very boring.
Your method sucks.
Yeah, it sucks, but it works. And there are runs where you'll get nothing.
BS.
Well,
I
got them all, Algared.
Until let's see, I did it for 4 hours this morning until the first 4 hours and probably 59 minutes. Do you know how many masks I got?
Probably 0.
0. Yeah. And then I got 2 bear masks in the last box that I opened.
Well,
the last one I did.
So when I was down to the last mask, I needed the lime one. And at the time, I actually thought I needed a purple one. And so John found a purple one, and I traveled all the way over there to get it. And he was at Crusader, and I was at Microtech. I got there, and it had despawned behind him, and he never looked to tell me. Then the same thing, I got all the way back, and then like about 20 minutes later, John found another one, and he just stayed looking at the inside the box. I flew all the way over, picked it up. Then I thought I had them all, got back to the station, and then I realized I already had a purple one, and I didn't have a green one. And then, so just to really rub salt in the wound, the server decided to give me the next 3 helmets were purple, which was the exact one I just got. So just frustration.
Well, I swear, what's really happening is CIG employees are watching.
Yeah.
And they're going, gotcha, gotcha.
But then after about 3 hours of nothing, it then did give me my lime helmet. So I got there in the end, and it is kind of, there's a very similar color thing between the teal one and the lime one. So that was a blueberry, I think they call it. But I got them all, and I got very lucky. I got the Vandal one and the 2 horror ones very early on, to the point I actually got another. I think they got the green one again as a duplicate. From the Hilltop Hero, but yeah, that Vandal is got. I think someone worked it out because of the drop rate after they changed.
Yeah, so 0.000 something. It was
I got it before the change, right? But after the change, it went down to like 0.04% or something from 1%. So whatever they did was just evil, quite honestly, and it's probably going to be the rarest or one of the rarest forum
Yep.
badge things in existence. But yeah, that's why I went for it, because I knew it was going to be rare because of the bug. So yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Right.
Bot is up.
Body's up. We've got 4 questions.
Cool.
Okay.
Any house? Oh, actually, Pyro. I do want to talk about Pyro. I did live stream Pyro that was complete.
You did.
So basically, as I started downloading it, because I knew I got in, but I didn't know if I was going to get onto the server. I literally made that thumbnail while it was downloading, and then as soon as I logged in and I was bed logged and I knew I was in, I started streaming, because I was like, well, I'm going to stream this because there might be any others in and they might want to see it. And I played it for about 3 hours. Have you had a chance yet?
Nope. Yes, I did have a chance. And I started logging last night, and I went, no, I've got to go.
Yeah.
I'm too dead.
So it is preview in a lot of senses. Like, almost every station is exactly the same. And I mean that by, like, the shop, the layout, everything is exactly the same. So they have, in a really weird way, saved a lot of spoilers, because none of the stations are different. It really is like, and I said, I've said this, I said this on stream, I'll say it again, it is like a rethemed Stan. There's no really any extra gameplay besides maybe the solar flare, and that's kind of an EMP with some effects. But like, the visuals of it though are really good. It's very dark and ominous, and the music is really good, so it's all positive. But if you're going in there all hyped for, wow, it's going to be this new game, it's not. It's just the same game we know, but it looks different, which is what it should be as a preview, personally. But I liked it.
And I from what I saw and what you were saying, because I as you were in stream, I was getting ready to head off to work, and so I was watching. But from what I could gather, it was no different from what I expected. You know, you've got your 4 different regions. They're going to be controlled by, or I'm assuming they're controlled by different gangs.
They are.
And so it's just like stands. You've got your 4 different organisations that are running it. They're going to have their own local laws, and there'll be an overall pirate law system that's in place. And so it's no different from what I always expected would be the case. But you know, and that has an impact for. I think there'll be an impact for pirates who want to be really just honed in on that one group because of the rep.
It made, so me and I was talking with John. I did play a session again with John, and I think it was a guy called something Loud Fingers or something like that. I can't remember the guy's name. First time I ever played with him, or I couldn't remember playing with him. Anyway, the discussion that came out was that pirates are not going to put up with these rundown stations. So we know how dynamic the universe is. They'll push into a maintain station, take it over, and eventually that whole cycle will repeat, because someone will then move into the rundown station, do it up. If it gets as dynamic as what they're intending, think about it. Think about how that'll all start to... It'll churn, if you know what I mean. And because I was just like, there's no way as a pirate I would choose to live here. I said, this is just so run down and maze-like, and you combine that with the system of disease and stuff like that they've talked about. If that is true, that place will be way more prone to diseases. The prices will cost more. They will, you know, like I couldn't buy a size 5 gun for my Redeemer at any station. Yes, it did have the same thing that made everything the same, but my point still stands. Like supply and demand. So everything will cost more there. So pirates are not going to put up with that. It'll motivate the pirates to fight. It makes a lot of sense from a design perspective.
I think back to, you know, places like in history, like Port Royal, and they start off as these ramshackle pirate bases, but they did actually do stuff to actually improve and do them, because people don't like living in places that don't support them and help them. So I'd like to think that rather than just move on, you know, destroy a place and move on, they're actually doing stuff that actually work to repair and build it up.
Well, that comes to the next question: is how, like, look how bad they look on the outside. Next question comes to stand: is the look of those stations dynamic? Like, can you actually fix them up so from the outside they start to change? That would be amazing if that's the case, but that's a lot of work.
I would like to. I would like to think that the bases are tied into the idea Chris had originally of, you know, as a system's thriving. There's less litter, there's less graffiti, there's less.
I hope you're right.
And I think that's got to be applied to the pirate areas as well. Like pirates aren't, you know.
But look at the level.
A pirate doesn't mean you're.
Look at the level of work that's required there. If you've actually got to build a station that can decrep and then kind of come back, and you know what I'm talking about. That's a lot of work. Or is it always going to just look destroyed from the outside, so to speak? And I don't mean destroyed, I should say. Well, it's damaged. I don't know what else to call it. Like, it's really damaged. Like there are arms that have been, like, literally shedded off by rocks, and it looks awesome, but it just it's the same station from the outside and in at the moment.
And I could imagine, you know, I could imagine groups, once they've got control, they would be seeking to, you know, recycle that damaged material. I get the impression that that Spider is in better nick than Ruined Station. And it might be that whereas Spider is, you know, a pirate base, that's kind of like your Tortuga or your Port Royal, where Pyro is more, the gangs are still fighting over it.
Oh, Algared, you know, I just noticed what I just did. Sorry to interrupt you. You know, when we were sitting there and go, oh yeah, I didn't change your photo. I changed the background photo to yours. Well, anyway, just realised what I'd done. Anyway,
you only just did it, did you?
Yeah, I just changed it back.
No.
No. So see how the bear's in the background? That was your background. I put your background as the entire background. Anyway, that's how it's hard. Yeah.
Hadn't noticed.
He didn't notice his name was Astropub when he logged on, and all that stuff.
That's true. Yeah. Didn't notice. Didn't even notice Astropub's background was there. You know, so
it's all good. Right. Sorry to interrupt you, but yeah.
So I wonder whether the difference is, like, places like Spider, which are the pirate bases, where it's the old, and it is run down, but that's changing because ships are coming and going and being added and taken away from that base. The impression I got is that more kept in better condition than Pyro, and I wonder whether it's because the pirate gangs are fighting over that more.
It just shows you how much a dynamic place, like, if everywhere's like that, how dynamic this place is going to be. Like, just the changes is nuts. Like, we've heard things like over time buildings will get garbage piling up. Now we've got vines and stuff like that growing on it as well, and the aging. But man, if it goes to that level where they go into, like, they actually, well, we do have the destruction, don't we? So they could literally turn into ruins and be rebuilt. I wonder, maybe that's how they're going to do it with the Maelstrom system. It just literally shatters certain parts of the station on the outside, and then they get. Well, I've answered my own question, haven't I? Now I think,
you know, you look at things they talked about. I don't know if you remember, but I can remember when they were talking about players fighting over places. There was discussion as to whether players would be able to add weaponry and stuff, and the impression that I got from a discussion was yes, you'd be able to upgrade the weapons, but then others could come along and kick you out and take over or destroy them. So you could repair and build it up and increase the defenses, but you could also lose that, and it wasn't going to be cheap to do that. And
well, now they've now confirmed weapons and ships for crafting, so that's kind of nuts. That's like a real backpedal since Citizen.
That is a backpedal. That is a big backpedal, because that was always one of the things they didn't want us to be.
Well, crafting wasn't a thing, was it? It was kind of confirmed at CitizenCon, and it was always going to be more of you make modifiers, and that's what the Super Collider wasn't it? In the Endeavour.
Even early on, they did talk about, not only was it in components we were going to be modifying and upgrading, but they did talk about the earliest I can remember hearing about crafting was we could craft the bits and pieces. We could craft the nuts and bolts.
That's right.
But we wouldn't craft the last piece. We couldn't get all the bits and pieces
because they thought it was
a rifle together or a ship together.
Yeah, it was considered too powerful. If you had the factory that made the weapons, then you were too powerful. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe something's changed. Maybe they've figured out a way to get it all to work and be it more balanced. They've obviously had time to.
Maybe there's too many Eve heads join the company.
All right, I think it might be time to take a question, Agrid. We've had our catch up talk.
We have, and we've ranged all over. Okay, so Luna Maria has her first question. She says, "I'm poking around." Oh, that's just what she was saying. She was saying she's poking around the RSI website. Dangerous thing to do around IAE as she's trying to work out what she wants to buy for IA this year. She said, "I'll have a couple of questions in the stream."
Yeah, don't.
I thought I'd blocked out the comments already, but I clearly my tightness only got rid of hello.
Can you see what's on my screen, by the way?
I can see what's on your screen.
So it looks like we're getting purple for AIE. This came out yesterday.
That does look like purple. The little stab on there does look like purple.
We've had kind of the pinky purple. Now we're getting the purple.
Raw purple.
So now I start to think of the skins for the ships that won. Purple Redeemer skin. Do you know who's going to be happy? I've just realised. Expat is going to be a very happy girl.
She likes purple, doesn't she?
Well, her logo is purple, so yeah, it's going to suit her to a T. Hopefully, we'll see. Possibly. But yeah, I don't know. Let's do a poll. I'm interested to know what people think about that one. So, are you happy? Are you happy with purple for this year's IA? Right. I'll copy that and start that one on that one. And Agrid, do you want to take a question from me, sir, please?
Yep. So, FM Boyd says, thoughts on going broke to get store credits for a javelin, then melting to sell store credits later. If you have to go broke to get anything in game, you're foolish and silly, and you shouldn't do it.
I think he also means like buying it and putting it into buyback. That's what I heard? Anything, I don't know if that's exactly what he said, but that's what I kind of heard. Anything over $1,000, you've actually got to get concierge to melt it for you. So you can do that and buy it back. But sometimes if you get a guy that's not having a great day, let's just call it that, they may not let you put it in buyback. Agrid's had things like that happen to him once or twice, haven't you? Where they've tried to do that to you and you wouldn't put up with it, basically. But you can get people that have had a bad day, haven't you? And things might not go away. Might not go your way.
I do think they did change that idea of the inability to melt stuff a while ago.
Yep.
But I'd have to check. I haven't tried melting anything that's over $1,000 for a...
Yeah, because it was considered, in the States, it's considered money laundering, so... Yeah. And I know there's other countries that have similar laws. Like, so basically, there's very big regions now on the website, and they tend to have to follow those laws depending on the region. So they'll have the region that comes up for you, and they'll probably have... I put it this way, if I was designing the system, I would have it so the customer service representative could see where you're from, and there'd be almost like a mini laws database that relates to each region. So if you say, I want to do this, they could see tags essentially and go, right, no, you can't do that, or yes, you can.
And I think it also relates. I think there's other things that come in. You know, what's the history like? Like, you look at the ship that are available, and you know, if that person is someone who has been, you know, constantly has lots of ships and is constantly gifting ships, you go,
I really wanted to interrupt you because right then the vote for the sexually frustrated color was at 69%. Nice. But now it went to 70, 60. Oh, it's back to 69.
There you go. You stop it there.
Yeah. We're going to end the poll now because it's right at 69.
You ruined it again.
Yeah. That's all right. We've still got a couple of minutes left on this one. Algared, don't let me forget this one because it always disappears on me and I forget to look at it because it's only up for 30 seconds when it ends.
On that, the
Twitch one. No, the Twitch one. The YouTube one's great.
Yeah.
I can end it where I want. So, with the way me and Algared do this, it's really interesting because we get to see the good and bad things of each system. And I really wish they had everything. Both of them had everything. Because to be honest, they both have good things and bad things.
It is. And you'll often see me doing this, and if I'm doing this, it's because I'm actually checking questions.
Yeah, and I do the same thing.
And screen. So
I don't have that one anymore, so I don't.
No.
I'm not doing that anymore, but anyway.
But yes, it does make it. It can make it a bit disconcerting.
All right, let me get the next question out.
So FM Boy says I was about to make a big mistake. So you were actually looking at spending lots of money to get a javelin, and then you're going to try and sell the credits off.
You can try that, but I think the end thing is we're trying to say is don't buy something if you don't intend to get it in case you can't get rid of it. And we've seen people plan to go, oh, I'm going to buy an Idris at this day, and then I'm going to melt it, and then I'm going to buy this at this day. You kind of can't do that because the time it takes to get to concierge, there's no way that you'll get it melted in time. You could probably try and melt it and see if you can do that. But from what I've been told, you can't melt them if they're over $1,000 yourself. I could probably confirm that. Let me double check.
And the other thing is, like, people often talk about, selling off credits. And I don't think anyone sells off credits for, at least, for 1-to-1. They're always sold off for less than their value.
Because a lot of people are trying to get out.
Because people who are trying to downsize or get out often end up taking a hit to offload their stuff.
And we've seen that with friends that have done that.
We've seen it with friends.
Told them to wait. They wouldn't wait.
Said, wait.
And if you're out there listing, you know who you are, and we're very annoyed at you because they didn't wait, and they lost a lot of value on what they. They were in bad times though, so they needed the money, and that's the unfortunately.
But had they waited, we probably could have worked something to help them out. But
exactly,
because that's what you do with friends.
That's it. All right. Do you want to do the next question? I am just checking. I'm just going to see if it even gives me the option to exchange my Kraken real quick when this comes up.
All right. So the next question is from. And by the way, Jodamo, yes, you did arrive late.
So there is an exchange option on Algared. I can technically melt mine. So maybe you can do that then, I guess. But
so I did think they did change it. It's gifting things over $1,000 still.
That's definitely not a no. All right, okay. So on Twitch they said no at 64%, with 7 people saying no and 4 people saying yes. On YouTube, this is for the color purple.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why Twitch doesn't like purple, because that is their color. Everything they get is purple on Twitch. I've just realized why now. Right, and there you go. 63 votes on YouTube with 65% saying yes. So I think we can safely say the yes would have it, even if we added all the votes from Twitch to YouTube. So people are happy with purple. We haven't had a purple like that. The closest we've had is that it was a pink, really, wasn't it, Algared?
It was a ghastly pink. It was horrid. In fact, that was the skin that I'd applied, and it was I actually asked CIG to if they could undo the change.
Yeah.
So that was the one time I've actually asked them to undo second time I asked them to undo a change, which they did.
Right, I got a few things here I got to read, Algared. So someone's complaining. What's his name? Amping is saying the A1 and the C1 have the same speed, but the A1 does bombs. Well, they're the same ship, so why wouldn't they be the same speed? Is my reply to that. Yep, I've done the Kraken, so someone else has just confirmed they can do that. That's a question, so I'll leave that. So Haran, we will get to your question when we come through. All right. Other than that, Algared, next question.
So the next question was from Nova42. Nova42 said, "I heard there are some changes to the C1. What are they? How do you think they'll affect the C1 standing among its competition?"
Well, it was the same as what happened to the A1, as far as I'm concerned. Remember how they took the guns off the turret and put it back under the ship? that you and I talked about. Yeah, so as far as that, but I didn't notice anything else when I was in game. I flew it very briefly because I was way more interested in the SRV at that point. And I've literally had one fly with each of them. That's how brief it was. And being EPTU, it is pretty buggy. There are just turning on the tractor beam and sitting there, it'll eventually pull what is behind you if you're in space. Will knock your ship. And currently the SRV struggles to pull itself. And from what I can tell, the size 2s can pick up heavier things than the size 3. So you can tell they're balancing that because there's more things that have got size 2, and they'll get round to fixing the size 3. And there's weird things too, like certain ships have size 1s on them, but they're labeled as size 2s. So looks like they've got to they've got a few things to fix. Let's just put it that way when it comes to tractor beams. And
I know that when they were talking about tractor beams originally, they were talking about them being the size, because they changed the size. They were saying, don't worry about the size. The ship size, the tractor beam sizes are still going to work the way they intended. A ship that's got a tractor beam, whatever it was supposed to be able to do, it's going to be able to do. And you might need to refresh. Pref camera.
I was just going to do it and done it on its own.
Oh, amazing! Miracles never cease. I haven't. I've been into the Avocadi. Or the.
It's not Avocadi. It's experimental.
Experimental mode.
That's what a lot of people get. A lot of people think it's Avocadi because it says EPTU, but the Avocadi says EVO, does it not? As the acronym when you.
I can't remember now.
Yeah, but it's a different color as well. I've seen it.
It certainly goes when they go to wave 1. Even if it is under NDA, that usually once they went to wave 1, it usually cut it. But I've been into the mode, but I got into the SRV a couple of times, had 30Ks, and then went. I'm going to go get boxes because I've got time.
Yeah. Upper Moon Thresh on Twitch says that the C1 is a loaner for the Zeus. I didn't even know that. That's something I should have checked up, and I didn't. So thank you for letting me know. Appreciate that. That'd be cool, actually, if each variant got a different... So, like, the MR gets the Cutlass Blue, the Clipper would get the Freelancer Max, and the ES should have got the Dur. That's how I would have done it. I know you probably... I don't know. Would you have done that, Algared? Makes more sense to me.
I'd have done that, but I'd have done something like that, but I'd have tried to make sure the ships were closer to the price point, but they were as well.
So price point more rather than roll. Okay. That's fine.
Price point. I'd go roll, but also then try and make them closer.
So like the
ship.
the A1's like 190, so that would have been the same price as the MR. I tend to go roll.
Do that. So
I'm more roll than price person, so yeah.
Well, like I said, roll, but then also bring it up to the closest ship that does that roll in that price point. But
yeah, I'm with North End on that one. Right.
All right. So Ostentatious 1, you guys think this Gattac ships is going to be a 3-man crew, long-distance maneuverable scout explorer, top-tier entry-level alien multi-purpose ship?
Yeah. So
that's such a broad thing. Yes, there you go.
So apparently, what they're talking about here is SC Leaks had a Gataxian type of leaky type of thing. I'm not going to show visuals on it. It's a star like most of the other stuff, and at the moment it's kind of rumor. And the way they've shown it is they've gone into... Actually, I can show certain things because these are not leaks. So there's this one, and just give me a second, Algared. I've obviously got to flick between a few. They're using concept art and older things. So these are images taken from the what do you call it? What's that image called, Algared? Where they showed all the different ones and you had to vote. The voting image, right?
Yep.
So this is that one and that one, and they said it kind of looks like this and it folds, basically. That's the long and the short of it. Nothing too special, but you kind of get a rough idea of what they're going to look like.
And if it's a Gattac ship, it's gonna look like it's gonna have the same language and stuff that we saw they were doing with the first ship. Beryllian.
Yeah.
But I think, what do I think about Bishop? I think they're going to bring out have a second and maybe, and I'd even go as far as saying a third Gattack ship.
Yeah, well,
Just so they can do.
So here it's saying that it's basically a Gattack starter ship. It's got 3 decks. It's similar to the Misk Reliant. Yeah, it'd be cool to see a starter ship. So an alien starter that's like, I've got to assume Algared that's cargo focused being the starter, wouldn't you?
Well, given Gattack are more that line.
Yeah.
But I reckon they're going to do. We've got the alien. They'll do a Gattack. They may even do a third, just so they can do that family of ships when they're building them.
Mm. Well, yeah,
So,
do it at the same time they're doing the alien. Yeah, that makes sense. Yep. And maybe one more. Yeah, I can see that.
And I say the third one only because it just gives them that family of ships to work on and flesh out.
Yeah.
And they could even do, hey, this gives us, they could even say, well, even though it's Gattack and we've got other manufacturers, they're still Jean, and so they'll do them all as, so yep, it's all Jean language, so we'll just put them all together. So they could even do that, but yeah. But yeah, it could be any of the above. A starter ship sounds about right, given what you read.
Yep.
Kind of like, and if it's kind of like the Reliant, then I'd say at least 2 people. But yeah. Nova 42.
Mm-hmm.
Assuming you have nameable ships, what have you named them?
I kind of don't want to tell people because then people will know who I am and come kill me. I guess I could tell you the names, but not what ships they go on. Yeah, so I've got one called Cold Star, which is a layover from my character in Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. That was my last name. Then I've got one called Incognito, which is very clever. That goes with that ship. I'll let you figure out which one that is. And the other one is, well, the other one you'll know what it is, so I can't tell you. It's very obvious. Yeah, Algared, is any that you want to share?
Yeah, well, I've got one called The Garn, which is my 890 jump. Began is named, that's G-T-H-E,
everyone take
Garn,
notes.
G-H-A-N. And that's named after the India Pacific. I think it's the India Pacific.
Yeah.
So train in Australia that goes basically one of our trains that cut across the country, named after the Afghan camels that were introduced to the country when they were exploring the continent.
So we'll get your hit list ready. Garn, ship number 1. Garn.
Yeah. And you've always said you're going to hunt me down, and you already know the name of that ship. So what's the point?
I'm the only one that's allowed to hunt Algared. Everyone else, everyone else can't. Yeah, right.
And the others are just named after explorers. Yeah, I don't think I have not named my javelins or my Idrises or anything else. So
Ed, and Eddie. There we go.
Yeah. So that's about it.
All right.
North End Trooper says, with a vehicle, I'm gonna do a Lunar Maria. Don't know why I keep stuffing your name up. Luna Maria, thank you for that $10 super chat. You don't, while always appreciated, loved, and all the rest of it, never expected, but always appreciated. So your question, she also had that with a question, and it's, is modularity being released with the MPUV? If so, will the reworked Retaliator have modularity too? I'm asking because I really like Vitali and probably going to buy one if so. Vitali does have modularity. Whether we're getting that this sale or when it's released is yet to be seen. We think so.
Yeah,
I think so.
I think we'll probably see that with a price increase, at least on the base variant as well. But we'll see. We'll see.
I think the biggest change we'll see when we do get Vitali with modularity will be that if you've got a base, you'll lose your torpedo boat loaner.
All right, North End Trooper says, with the vehicle tractor beam videos that are out, there are some about weight limit. Do we know what the weight limits are for each tier of the tractor beam items? No, not specifically, and it does seem a little bit buggy because some things will seem lighter than others, and it shouldn't be that way. The one thing I can tell you though is your ship's beam and the kind of tractor beam itself will glow orange as it's getting towards that limit, and it literally acts like a rope, believe it or not, in low gravity. Like if it's too heavy, it would actually like almost pendulum below the ship before, and it really does act like a rope. It's really interesting. But yeah,
So
again,
you mean
I think things are fairly buggy at the moment.
so you mean rope tech is actually finding
It
more
feels
users in game?
it feels a little bit like rope tech. I'm not even kidding. Just the way things, if they're too heavy, it's in atmosphere, right? In space, it's a little different, but in atmosphere, it literally feels almost like a rope. And there's a really annoying sound bug. As soon as you turn on the beam, it's just like it's akin to like a dolphin pulse, and it just drills into your eardrums. It's shockingly bad, like to the point I had to turn my sound effects off.
What would be worse though is if that bug just kept going even when you turned it off.
Yes, it would. Don't give me ideas, Algared. Red Roan.
I just realised that, or just had the thought. Apart from the MPUV getting hopefully modularity, which is what I think that model did. If the MPUV attaches its modules via a tractor beam, putting on tinfoil hat, is it possible that the MPUV will have a small tractor beam at the back?
That's the thing, Agrid. Like, I think that's why they've almost told us on modules for so long, because it essentially it's going to show us which ships are modular and which ships are variants. And I think some of the ones that they've sold potentially were modularity from the beginning, and it's going to. That's why it'll all change. Like, so just take the MPUV example. Now they can only sell the one ship, not three different ones. At different price points and stuff like that, and people are going to be annoyed. We have talked about buyer's remorse for a long time, and it's been coming. They've just held it off and stemmed that dam for a really long time, but it's going to be a thing. Again, there are ships in game that cost more than others that cost outside game, and it makes no sense.
Yeah, but I also think like ships like the MPUV, we've always known it's modular. We've always known the modules, but there's going to be people who want to buy.
But there's going to be people that don't know that, Algared. That's my point. Yeah.
We've known that, but others haven't. But I think that's always an issue. Fortunately for a ship like the MPUV, I don't think it's that big a.
Well, yeah, I'm trying to give a nice example, Algared. Yeah, I'm trying to give a nice example.
For bigger ships. But for the MPUV, I could see, you'll have, I think you'll still have the ability to buy it without the modules, and then buy the modules separately, but also buy ships that are already kitted out. And
my rough takeaway too by the SLV, just what I'm thinking of it, is I just went back to the Crucible, and I know the Crucible's got the tractor beam, so essentially I was just like, I'll just use the Crucible, So and it's a sitting game for me. I do have a CCU to one. It might be fun to play with for a little bit, especially now. But I could totally see people that have a Crucible getting that as a loaner. I would not be surprised if that's not even the Vulcan. It would be a good loaner for the Vulcan as well. So I guess we'll see in time. But yeah.
Yeah, I suppose the only thing with the Crucible /SRV is the fact that when they talked. The Crucible being the tug, they talked about having stronger tractor beams than the regular Crucible, and so that might change the weight, the size of tractor beam or the power of tractor beam with the SRV to the Crucible. But I expect the Crucible to be able to at least do the job, maybe not as well, but be able to do that towing job to some degree. But
all right,
we will wait and see.
Red Roan says, question, with the recent release of the C1 Spirit and the incoming Zeus CL, could you see older ships like the Freelancer Max receiving a remote tractor beam and other interior updates in the near future? I'll pass that to you, Agrid.
I could imagine when they eventually do a rework and work out what they're doing. And like we've said lots of times, we think the Freelancer needs a pretty big rework. Changing from crew size and all the rest of it. And so if you start taking crew, beds out and seats out. It gives you space for more components and more equipment and living space. So if they do that, yeah, they could add it. They could equally say, no, it's not getting it.
It's never had one on its cards, and it kind of came in after the Cutlass. So I'm more inclined to say no, but I do agree with Algared. It needs a fairly big rework, and I think they actually said that there's one coming. I'll have to double check on that. But I kind of lay it all down, and you kind of look at it like 2 of them have tractor beams and 2 of them don't, but then 2 have VTOL that 2 don't. Oh, by the way, we have a video literally coming on this kind of subject that we recorded like a week ago. It's just that we've had a whole bunch of videos and we had to prioritize them in order of importance. So look forward to that on the weekend. It is literally called Medium Ship Comparison. And I've had a couple of people look at it, and Gacho literally said he reckons it's one of the best videos we've ever done. He's like, this just cleared up so much shit for me. And I was like, are you serious? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, okay. Right. So, yeah, it really, like, after the couple of mistakes that we made in the videos around that time, this was the video we went back and, all right, we're just going to do everything. And we went in game, we flew them, we did everything. Because it was clear on paper something didn't line up. And once we got in game and flew them, we flew every Freelancer max, or every Freelancer, including the max, to put that in perspective. And that was flying them
different as well, wasn't it?
Changes everything, right? So it really does. It's not just looking at paper anymore. We're going to have to fly them. And what it actually came down to, the thing that really set the Zeus apart, right, that made it look negative, was the thrusters. And I'll leave the rest for the video, but the thrusters were really telling. That thing is going to fly worse than all the others. So yeah.
For me, the difference with the Zeus CL versus the Spirit and even the Max is the fact that RSI has made the decision that for it to carry extra cargo, access to the components is going to be blocked if you go fully laden. And
yeah. If we say any more, though, we're going to give the video away. So, but yeah, long story short, the Clipper and the Freelancer Max both have their place, and they both they're both going about it in different ways, and it's very clever. And one of the things we noticed with the ships that are around, there's definitely room for more medium ships in the lineup, but the I don't know, should we tell them the real big thing we discovered, or should we leave it for the video?
I think leave it. I think the biggest thing, one of the things we found, is there were, of the 4 ships, there seemed to be 2, 2 doing one thing, 2 doing the other thing, and it seemed to be like that all the way down the ladder, and that seemed to be quite telling. But anyway, wait for the video.
Right at the start of the video, we tell you our big revelation, the thing that really changed the way we look at the Zeus, and it totally changes how you analyze the Zeus. And that's literally the first thing I open with in the video. So, yeah, look forward to that on the weekend. Or, what is it? Monday, I think it is for you guys. So, yeah.
Whenever it comes out.
Yeah. Right.
Certain cheese. What cheeses me off? Okay, does anyone know if the ships like the 315P and the Cuddy Black have tractors enabled in the current PTU build? I do believe. I have heard that the CAT has them enabled. I know there are people going in and testing tractors on different ships.
I do know there are certain ones that work and certain ones that don't, but I cannot tell you off the top of my head the ones that don't work. I saw Croncy using a Caterpillar, so I can only assume that that's got it.
That one does have them.
I'd assume the Cuddy Black has it. The 315P, I'm pretty sure will have it as well. I think it was on the list, so I think you'll find both those have got it. But there was another one that I heard people saying, why doesn't this have its tractor beam? So it's not all of them. It's half to most. But that'll be there by the patch after or whatever. So within the next 3 months they'll all have them. The Vulture does have them as well. Yes. So you can pull in the salvage, and the reclaim will have it as well. I know that because the really weird thing is when you're in the SRV, it talks about salvage mode, which really I was like, why is there a salvage mode? And I think they've just copy pasted off the Vulture onto the SRV and not taken the salvage stuff off yet. So we'll see. And it flies just like the raft. So I think they've just gone, I'll copy the raft code for the flying. I'll copy this for this, and yeah.
I've got to admit, when I did go in and have a look at the SRV, as I went into the hangar, I thought this looks very rafty.
Yeah.
Like the thrusters and everything just gave that real.
Oh, the thrusters look awesome. Real quick, Sushi Daddy says on Twitch, the ones I've used that works are the Cat, the Cuddy, the Vulture, the C15, the C1, Nomad, and the SOE. And I can confirm all those because, yeah, I do agree. They're the ones that I've seen that are working.
So, Citizen Cheese, yes, the 315 and the Cuddy Black tractors are enabled and working. Rutzi says, will we see a CAPS ship at IAE, concept or otherwise?
Confirmed the RSI miner from the vote last year. So no, not a cap, a large. So I think we can safely confirm, unless there's a bigger one coming.
Yep.
I think it's going to be like last year with the Galaxy, essentially, then, because it's a large ship. It should be a large. How large is a large is another question.
We know
that Orion is really big, is it? So it gives it a lot of room to be big.
We know there's the RSI mining vehicle / ship. We've tended to speculate it could be a vehicle.
Not a vehicle, a land miner.
A land mining type, ship or something like that.
Vehicle implies it's a truck.
Yeah, true. I always keep thinking of I'd like to see something like a sand crawler from Star Wars or the sand miners from.
Yeah, I've heard everything from oil rigs to.
So I'd love to see something like that, but ties in with my Doctor Who.
Yeah, I hope it looks a little different than a standard ship because it's a driller. I'd like to think they'd take the opportunity. I still think I'm right up there with you when they missed a really big one there for Grey Cat to do it. But maybe Grey Cat is not a primary manufacturer. Maybe they weren't capable of doing a ship that big. So they did do the tick miner though, so that's pretty big enough for me. But yeah.
So yeah. So, but will it be? Will we see a cap ship? Anything's possible.
Kayoshi 3. But I'm not sure if the Raft has a tractor beam or not because some do and some don't. That'll come out over the next few days. But if it doesn't have it right now, it will have it sooner or later.
And Rusty says, thanks for the tinfoil hat episode.
You're most welcome. We've had a lot of good comments about that.
We've had a lot of comments about that.
Yeah.
And I will admit I was dragged kicking and screaming.
No, you weren't. You were not at all. You were very resistant. I could hear it in your voice, but I think you knew at the end of it. I think you knew it was a good thing to do.
Oh, look,
at the end of the day.
It was more. I have to go get the tinfoil.
Yeah, but it worked. It was good. I do have good ideas once in a while, don't I? Just once in a while.
Occasionally.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. And we've had a request for that as a series. So maybe that.
And of course, I always take the view: once you accept something and get on board with something, you go whole hog. You go full.
Yeah.
Lost in Walmart says the upsized Fury could be an alien advanced data.
Oh, that's something that we should look at, Algared. So I've been waiting for them to drop that ship panel, right? And I even went to the point of downloading it in 4K, but it is a lot clearer now, like noticeably clearer. Give me a second to bring it up.
Okay.
And
while you're doing that,
no, it'll take 10 seconds. Just give me a sec. This one here, and I've even know where it's up to. So I've just hang on. Yep. If we go in, Animation Squadron 42, that's the ship vote. That is where we're up to. I'll just mute this. Kind of full screen. I know you guys aren't going to be able to see this, but there's the Miro one right there. But one of the things you can pick up on is this area here that is now kind of unlit, so to speak, is so much clearer to make out. And it's not text, but you can clearly see from the line and styling, it's a Miro ship. It looks
like a Miro ship.
Yeah, it's...
Even, look, to me, even while it's blurred, it looks like a Miro ship.
Yeah, I don't want to call people out, but there were people... The funniest one I heard called out was Defender. Or this is a Banu ship because it looks like the Defender. And they were so reaching at straws. Because if you've got to rotate the ship, again, you go through the entire video, the way they pan the camera, it's making the ships look like they're moving past. They've got a person in every single one to give you the scale. So if you think it's a large ship, you can just look at, oh, no, it's a small because the person is really tiny. Or vice versa, right? By the same action, I can't get up to the Polaris and go, "Oh, this is clearly a small ship," where you can't even make out the person. So you can.
I originally when we were doing it, I originally thought the Polaris didn't have a person.
Yeah. And then you found it in the video. I remember you telling me.
Oh, hang on, there it is.
but using this in every shot, he's in the same pose. That's to tell you the size of the ship, and they also go from small to largest in the video as well. So so we had people also saying that they thought this was the Gattac Saulian because if it flies that way, right, which it's not, it does look a little bit like the cross sections folded back like on a Raelian. So I get their thought there, but a Defender where the whole thing's flying sideways, this is a little weird. But yeah, clearly it's a Miro ship.
And the whole idea of it not flying, facing the other way to be a Gattac style ship is the fact that every vehicle is facing the same way for the little guy. So
yeah, so if
it'd be a bit weird for that one ship to be flipped.
Yeah, so if you're moving anything out to kind of call it something else, you're huffing the copium pretty strong there. But it doesn't hurt to dream. But then again, that's why when we do speculation, we have someone else there at the very least, one other person, to rein it in. And when certain content creators, we've seen it multiple times now, haven't we, our group, where content creators speculate alone and it goes places because your brain. Well, you've seen me, right? When I'll start doing it. Sometimes I'll go to Wacky Town and Algared's got to go, whoa, back it up, and by the same token, Algared will do the same because your brain just goes, I want this, woo, and yeah, so yeah.
And Atlas Gaming, thank you for that super chat, and cheers back to you. That's all he said. Cheers. So that super chat, always appreciated, never expected, but always appreciated, and I'm always humbled. It blows me away to see the support you guys give us. So
yeah, likewise, it's kind of humbling. That's one of the things me and Algared are struggling with because we don't like to ask for money, but if we're gonna make it a system, we're gonna have to start asking for money because it's just so much more expensive for us than any other country and stuff. Because not only does it cost us more while we're there, the flights cost more because I've got to travel further. And then on top of that, we are not in the best financial place. A lot of people seem to think YouTubers are really rich, but we couldn't make enough. We don't make enough on this channel that anyone could, not even a single person could live off.
We don't even make enough to be able to employ an editor to make our stuff look good.
Yeah, that tells you everything you need to know.
there
So
you
we're
go.
not, we're not quite at that point.
Yeah,
you need about 20. Was it about 20k, 25k, somewhere in there to just have enough to hire an editor? And you'll notice that people like other content creators. So Paul got one once he got to around 20k. So yeah, we might look at and what we're hoping is when we get to about 20k, we're going to add another show and get that edited. We'll still keep doing the other two the other way, or maybe we'll do more. We'll see what happens. But that's as we grow. Right. Next question is from T-Jack. What the fuck are you have lol? Do you
no? Because we've got another super chat from Atlas Gaming.
Go ahead.
And he says, "You guys rock."
Thank you.
So thank you again for that second super chat. Again, never expected, always appreciated. Thank you.
Yeah, that question from T-Jack don't make sense because it's out of context. And
I think that I think the context was I said early on. I said, "Say hi and where do you live?" Right. And I may have had a typo. That's the only thing I could think of. I was scrolling back into the chat to see if I could find it. But that's my guess. So
Wody says, question: Rafter's supposed to have a tractor beam, but nothing yet in the ETPU. Will still have it, or will they change it? So if you think about how the raft works, more than likely that tractor beam is actually used to pick up the boxes. So it's a downwards facing one. So that's probably why it's not going in right at the start. Oh,
that would be my guess.
Forlorn just did 5 tier 1 subs on Twitch. Thank you very much. Forlorn has gifted one to Blackhawk125, Erilyn, Bogfather, P9TV, and Oddball189. Congrats on your subscriptions with a Prime to Forlorn. Make sure you say thank you to him, and thank you for those.
And Luna Maria seems to be now in a super chat war with Atlas Gaming, and she says, "We do it because you don't expect it."
It's just hard to ask for money.
So clearly the clue is then give us all your money. Throw money at the screen.
Yeah. I think it's a pride thing. I don't know. We're both kind of prideful in that way. We don't like to ask for that stuff, but we're gonna have to if we want to get there. It's just the nature of these things. I guess in the other way is how much do you guys want us to go? And that was the thing that came out of CitizenCon for me, was from Paul in Space. Like, how many people were saying that made me really want to go next year.
But the fact that I was saying they were trying to get to lunch and they couldn't get to lunch because people kept stopping them and
how many asked them about Inforunners specifically, and I was just like, are you serious? Like, so
yeah, well, I did get the message from Sandy saying, numerous people were asking, saying hi for me or saying,
And you didn't ask them to do so. That's the other part.
I didn't ask anyone to do it. I appreciate it.
Yeah. I need to say something to Sandy. Oh yeah, Algared says hi. Yeah. Subtle.
So Ozuguru, Ozuguru, 10 euro super chat, and he says, "Damn, throw money at the screen, didn't work."
Don't throw coins at the screen, just paper.
That's right. How do you spend your money is how you vote on what exists in the world. All right. Well, thank you, Ozuguru, for willing to throw your money at us because you obviously want us to exist in the world. Walker Bait sent a $5 super chat. Say, do you guys think that loaners for the Orion will include the new RSI mining ship when it is released?
I hope so. I'm kind of counting on it. Yeah.
Unless, of course, the Orion comes out first.
That is true.
In which case,
yeah, and it really is that, like, because you kind of look at the Orion, and the tech for the Orion is less than is required for the landminer, to be honest with you. But again, you'd have to assume that they probably might do them both at the same time if they're both working on, or they're currently working on RSI. They've got a bunch of other RSIs to do. I would hope after the Perseus, then we might see the landminer and the Orion.
Yeah,
which would be kind of cool. But that means we're getting a lot of RSI ships over like the next 2 years, so to speak.
Yeah. Which is good.
I've got no problem with that. Well, they're your favourite. You're going to be rolling like a pig in shit, aren't you? Because you've got all of those.
CIG are going to kill me.
Yeah.
They've already hit me hard. They're going to kill me again.
So, yeah.
Al said RSI is perfect. Let's put some more out.
Yeah.
And our last super chat that came in that flurry is Jamie Page, and he's on another $10 super chat, and he says, "A little love for all the amazing info you shared." So thank you.
Yeah, very humbling. Thank you, guys. Never needed, but always appreciated, as Algared always says. All right. Blackhawk125 on Twitch says, "How do you think the modules will work when they first release for like the Galaxy? Do you think they will have 3 different ships, or we will have to go to the Cousin Crows and have things swapped?" So they said back in the day, if you can get it into a hangar, you can swap it in your hangar. It's a drawback to bigger ships like capital ships. They have to specifically go to what used to be a shipyard. Now it's a manufacturer's shipyard now.
Yeah.
And then Cousin Crows is essentially a manufacturer. They do the privateer. So.
Well, they do the custom private. They do the custom Kraken. So
I said
yeah, you did say privateer. Yeah. So they do they kind of like a pimp my ride. They are a custom bike. So they'll get a bike and they'll.
I hope they do others down the line too, not just the privateer. But you've got to think that they probably are going to do. We may see some more variants. Well, what are some of the ships in there? We've got an M50, a Cutlass, an Arrow, and there's a 100i in there. So hopefully we see some kind of variant of those down the line, but we'll see.
I'd have to go back and read read the lore, but I think the lore is, I think there was a Hercules was one of the first ships, or there was a. So they've done other ships, and the Kraken privateer was not their first, and it's certainly, and even their office at Orison is not their first office. It's not even where their home base is.
Coology, thank you for the Prime subscription on Twitch. Right. On to the next one.
And we've got let's celebrate their first super on the live stream. So, is that what the one means?
I don't know. Which I mean.
That was Jamie Page. I'm going to scroll back a little and see, because I think there was a couple of other, and Ozugru. Yes, so Ozugru also did a super for her first super. I've only just realised that's what that means. So thank you for those your very first supers, guys. Most appreciated.
Yeah. All right. Next question from Direwolf6399 says, is the Halloween helmet still going on, and is there a glitch with that alien helmet? Well, they definitely turned down the drop rates on the alien helmets, and yes, it is still going. You've got to the 10th, so you've got 8 days essentially.
I was doing it this morning while waiting for the stream to start, and the very last time I went to the outpost, I got 2.
Oh, nice.
Before that, I got 0.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Yeah, I got two bear masks. But that was after 4 hours of nothing.
That's how the dice rolls, unfortunately, and the drop rates are very low.
And I don't think it matters where you go; it's just random. But yeah.
Anonymous Gifter on Twitch donated, so we don't know who it was. Who is it? Donated 5 Twitch subs. Soggy Monster, Citizen John. You don't want to give one to John, man. John Citizen. He did. Sean 12.99. Hawkshaw and Zakiri. Enjoy your gifted subs. So yeah, appreciated. Never required, but yeah, very yeah. Gotta stop asking for money. This is crazy. Right. Who's next, Hagrid? Joe Domo says, question, is it possible to upgrade the insurance on a limited hull ship from 24 months to LDI? In very rare cases. What was it, Hagrid? There was a CCU that did it for a while, wasn't there?
I think there was a CCU that did it. I think when the Mantis came out, you could CCU up to that.
Yeah.
And get LTI. I think there was another ship. There's 1 or 2 ships where that's happened.
I think we can safely say if the ship is garbage, they'll offer extra incentives, aka Nomad and Mantis. They have done things like that before. LTI. They were war bond as well, weren't they? It was a war bond CCU that would turn whatever you had into LTI. If they do that again, then you could probably pick one up.
And the Nomad strike that had the best starter pack that I've ever seen for a single ship. Best starter pack I've ever seen.
Yeah. Is it possible to upgrade the insurance? I'd love to know the ship that you've got as well. So Joe Domo, ask another question, or if we see it in chat, we'll reach it. But just let us know the ship you've got, because if it's not a limited ship, like, you'd be almost better just to buy an LTI token and upgrade it again. So, you know.
Well, he does say limited hull ship.
Then yeah, you kind of that's a tough one.
But yeah.
I'd love to know the ship though, because limited means it's got to be like a Pioneer or something, doesn't it? There's not many limited ones left anymore, is there? It's just the Pioneer. Is there any other limit? Oh, and the
what's your definition of an 890? In chat, he says, "What's your definition of an 890 jump execute?"
How do I put this? Original junk works. Yeah.
I think he's saying. So I'm guessing from that. But the ship he's talking about is he's got an 890 jump with 24 months insurance.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of hard to get one. So yeah.
Yeah, 890 jump.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. That's tough, and especially on a ship when you spend that amount of money. Me and Agard have advocated for LTI and everything for the longest time, haven't we, Agard? So.
Yep, I've been advocating LTI on anything bought in the store or with credit since 2014.
Yeah, but it kind of shows how little LTI actually means, because you're gonna have to pay insurance as soon as you put cargo in or anything like that anyway. So.
And CIG have constantly said LTI means nothing.
Yep.
LTI means something because we, the backers,
We
FOMO'd for it. And CIG went, right, if they're going to keep going for it and busting the bank to get it, okay, we'll make it a thing. But it doesn't mean anything in value. In terms of, it'll take a little bit of time to earn it. But yeah, we screwed it. We, the backers, screwed the pooch. Same as the idea with ships.
John Citizen on Twitch says he hates you for giving him that sub, and he's the worst person to ever exist in the history of the world. Oh, that's just terrible, John. Why would you say that about yourself?
Why would you say that?
Why would you say that about yourself, John? Right, anyway. Stop hitting yourself, John. Stop hitting yourself, John. Right, next question from Haron 2Z says, hi guys, long time viewer, first time caller. Was excited for the C1 until the Zeus cargo was announced, so CL. Any redeeming qualities of the C1 before I switch to Zeus? Yes. Yes, there is. And it's in the video. Look, I really want to tell them. I really, really want to tell them. But yeah, wait for the video, but there is a big difference, right? And I'll just say this. Price is a balancing feature of this game, right? And so when that comes in game, I have no doubt the C1 will be cheaper than the Zeus. Right, but if you are talking from an owning perspective and you don't care about more money, then the C1's also got speed. The CL does not have speed. And quite frankly, there's another. I'll answer it this way, right, without telling you. There is another ship that you would want to look at that's not the CL if you are interested in the C1. I'll leave it at that. And Algared knows which one I'm talking about. So yeah. Algared,
if I can remember, I'm very tired at the moment, so
probably... think about it. There's one other ship that we compared to the CL.
Yes.
That's the one I'd be recommending. Yeah. So yeah, I've told you what that is. If you use your brain, you can figure it out. It's pretty easy. Well, yeah. So yeah.
In the video, you'll see it clearly. Okay. So I did miss a couple of things in our YouTube because in my tiredness.
That's okay.
As I scroll down. Okay, so Rusty Pigeon Gaming Channel. Thank you for the membership. Again, always appreciated. Never.
Does that mean every time he flaps his wings, he squeaks? Kind of reminds me of the Tin Man from Dorothy. What is it? Yellow Brick Road. God, yeah. So he's just squeaking every time he flaps. Anyway.
So you need a bit of oil. Is that what you're thinking?
Yes.
Okay. So also a super chat from Chris H. It's a $20 one, and he says, "Thanks for the time and effort you all put into vids, gentlemen. Always a good time catching you all live. My best to both of you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir."
And scrolling down a little bit further, we come to the Jocos.
Yes.
And dang it. The Jocko said, for a $15 super chat, says, "You're all great. I appreciate the entertainment and info while trying to do some work." Question.
There are, by the way, there are people that guessed it, Algared, in chat. So we have some clever cookies, right?
Yep. And the question that DeJocko gave with that super chat was, if I have a Herald and all the Zeus ships, should I bother to keep my MSR as a jack of all trades?
I'd be getting rid of all the Zeuses and the Herald. So the one thing that forms this for a lot of the stuff, right, is the way that Chris talked about, and he's done this, like I interviewed him, he talked about it, he's talked about it in multiple Tens of Chairman, hasn't he, Algared? Is that if you look about, and I often wondered why, and it wasn't until later we theorized, if you have an org ship, how do you make it so that a single person can afford to buy an org ship? You have to reduce the price so one person can buy it, right? But that means that later the price is going to, we'll never see it in monetary terms, but in game it's going to cost so much more to buy one of those big ships, right? It's the same thing from a large and a medium and a small. And the example Chris gave me was an Aurora will stay roughly the same. A Constellation will be about 5 times the price. I think it's more realistically 4 because it's for 4 people. And then something like an Idris will be 10 times as much, right? And again, if that's designed for 10 people, it'll 10 times in value. You can see where I'm going here pretty quickly, right? So basically, the grind to get those things is going to be astronomically huge. So going from a Zeus to an MSR is going to be a shit ton harder than going from an MSR to a Zeus. And that's why we've always encouraged you guys to get the bigger ones. Because even if you've just got one big ship, you're essentially, for a lot less work, able to get all the ships underneath it at a far more rapid rate than going the other way around.
Yeah, and people, I was even talking to people this morning, and we were talking ships, and I was saying the key thing that we always talk about is when we say a ship's not good or not good value, we're not saying a ship's horrid. We're not even saying, by itself a ship's no good. What we're saying is, when you look at what the cost of a ship's in-game is going to be, the bigger ships are the better value. Yeah. And that, you've always, whenever we're talking, you've got to put it into that context of looking at the cost of a ship's in-game down the track.
And you can take that advice from almost any game if you think about it. Whatever it is, if you're in World of Warcraft and you've got way better gear and you go back to a starting area, you can smash things. You go, I got to think of a game. But like any game when you're high level and you go back, it's easier. It just is. And it's going to be no different here. And the blowback we get to this is, there is multiple, I need more crew to run that ship. True. But also you can struggle through and earn a ship that you can use, but you'll always have that bigger ship that you can come back to and earn something smaller quicker than taking the ship and trying to go up. And the whole game is designed around pushing people to work together. Player rating system, the finding people system, and AI, they are throwing everything at you so you can crew those bigger ships. And we get so much blowback to this day. Like I talked to another content creator not in the last 2 weeks. It says he no longer wants to recommend big ships, but he's not thinking about that. These are systems they've talked about for years. I just, there's nothing that holds me back from recommending big ships. Algared, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but
yeah, I can understand people not wanting to recommend big ships because of the idea of that playability and the way that drive to make even medium ships and the way they're talking power management and component management. Yep. You can see trying to fly a big ship by yourself is going to be really hard. It's going to be nigh impossible. But on the other side, I can't see any big ship ever being put in so that you could not get a mission that at least covered the costs.
Yep.
To run.
They kind of even describe that in the medium ships too. Like with mediums it'll be even easier, but if something critical goes wrong, you might be in trouble because you'd have to get out of the seat and go take care of it and then be vulnerable. It'll be no different in a larger ship, but the thing that people keep forgetting is those systems of putting people together, the AI and all that. Yes, initially it might suck, right? But the game's not live and everything's going to get wiped anyway. But once release hits, it will have those systems, but they'll have to be in before release.
And I think the other thing that goes with that is not only do I expect those ships to be, like big ships will have missions that will enable them to make money and do stuff. But if you try and do a 3-box mission in a Javelin, you're going to go broke. That will cost you significantly more than you're making to run the ship.
Absolutely. Some ships are going to be sinkholes, and the bigger ones will be,
So if you and I think any ship, if you do missions that are below, you do starter missions in your medium ship, you're going to be losing more money. And the bigger the ship goes, the more money you'll lose. And so pick the missions that are suitable for your ship. And if you've got 2 or 3 crew or 2 or 3 mates, generally as you scale up, you'll be able to be able to do the ships. But earning those big ships in game is going to be a significant grind compared to earning those smaller ships.
It's always the risk versus the reward. The number of people that, again, if you think about getting people to work together is hard, but if you pull it off, there are great rewards like raids in World of Warcraft and all that stuff. So a bigger ship should be harder to operate with players, but when you get it working, you should be able to defeat the smaller ones, no problem, right? So it's just, it's all going to come around. Hey, Griff, nice to see you, man.
And that ties in. ties in with the the blades and NPCs as well. So all of that comes into play with that. But at
Wait,
the end of the day,
one sec, Griffin. What were you doing, man? Let us know what you were doing in game. And nice to see you, man. Have to another chat soon. I've been dropping around Soul Citizens in their Discord and have a chat with him. He's a very good person. He'd get on with us for speculation, Algared, because he can see the other side and he hears you out. And we usually get there. We usually find common ground pretty quickly with Griffin. So yeah, he'd be a really good person to speculate with. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah. So the key thing with those capital ships or the big ships is the fact that the grind to get them is so big, and the grind to get the smaller ships is not. It took me a month from an Aurora to earn, or a little less than a month from an Aurora to earn a Cutlass Black. It would take me a lot longer from an Aurora to earn a big ship, and that's the difference we kind of look at when we're making those suggestions to buy. If you're looking at buying a big ship, and it's not you just need to buy a big ship. It's people say, well, I want to eventually get this big ship, and you go, well, buy it now because it's going to be easier to get now than it is going to be with a grinding game. And some people say, yeah, but I want that to be my targeting game. Okay, fine. Yeah.
First time chatter on Twitch says SM Wolf 53. So are ships just going to be breaking down? I mean, as long as you're not in combat, things shouldn't go wrong. Well, they can. Maintenance, so if you haven't taken care of your ship for a long time, parts will degrade over time, just like in real life with a real car. Just driving it around, it wears, and it's going to be exactly the same in this.
I was doing the box runs. I was in our general channel. I was just having it streaming while I was doing it, and a couple of guys were there, and one of them said, "Oh, you're so much better than me," because I hopped on. I was using the Cutlass Red, and I hopped on the bed because I said, "Oh, here's a cheap way to replenish my hydration." Hop on the bed, and I was sitting at 90, and he says, "Oh, I leave it until I'm 5%." And that you do that with your ship, yeah, you're going to break down. But if you're always maintaining it or fixing it or doing that, the chance that happening are going to be significantly less. So.
Yeah, I hope they tweak some of those things because I hate how frequently you have to drink at the moment. It shits me.
Yeah, one day.
Yeah. So, all right. What's the next one? Cavelia says, "Will Paul love his Redeemer since it will have a purple skin?" Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's true.
Only if it's got feet.
Yeah, actually, we should make an emote that's just feet with Paul's head. And put it on the Discord. That's the next. I'm going to do that. That'll piss him off.
Feet kind of cupping his hand.
No. Just like he's been shrunk, and it's just feet on a head.
Oh, feet in his head.
Yeah. Just little. He's always talking with his hands. It's just like little jazz hands, and then feet.
two hands on the side. And
his just like sucked it, like his body's been sucked in and like through a black hole or something. Yeah. Oh dear. Yeah. All right. Forza AI Z. My question to you guys is, when AI is up and the Idris will be in store, can I get it with store credits or CC ship to it, or has to be new money? I'm going to let you take that one.
So when the Idris is in store, can you get it in store credits? Yes. They usually go like
hotcakes.
They go quicker than
like lightning.
Quicker than grease lightning.
But there are multiple waves. They tend to have 3 waves.
There usually are multiple waves. Yeah. Can you CC to it? No,
because it's over 1,000.
And you can use new money as well.
Yeah.
So if you're using Warbond for ships like the Javelin, the Kraken, and the Idris, they usually hang that. You've usually got no problem getting those with.
So you could probably try and get it with credit in the first 2 waves, and then if you're worried about not getting it, then you could probably buy it with cash. But one thing I will add to your question that you didn't ask is, now we know Squadron 42 is coming out. Sooner or later, that thing's getting a price bump. How much is usually between 10 to 15%. So I'm kind of expecting it. There's a credit price and a war bond price. I'm expecting the war bond price to become the credit price, and therefore the credit price will go up by about $200.
And the key reason why with Squadron 42 coming out, we know it's coming, is I believe John Crew said on the live stream, the Idris will be released alongside Squadron 42.
Yep. It also means the M and the K are going up as well.
And he said all three are coming.
Yep.
All three are coming at the same time.
Yep.
M, K, P went alongside Squadron 42. Now, I've been saying for the last year that I think Squadron 42 is next year.
I agree with you.
Or even before Chris said they're feature complete, I was saying they're almost done. They're almost done. They're almost done. Yeah. Look at the monthly reports.
Well, they came out and said it, didn't they? They're in the polishing phase.
Now come out and said it. And
you and I have been saying it for almost like 18 months. I really do feel like a broken record, but it was quite vindicating.
That's why I was vindicated.
yeah, because everything was telling us that it was coming, and
so I clearly polishing stage. Could they get it done in 12 months? Yeah. Doesn't mean they will. No. But I within the next 12 to 24 months, I think it'll be out.
Yeah, I haven't gone back and checked into that contract thing with the British government. I need to do that, but I haven't got around to it. I've been too busy.
So so X is going to check on something, and then
if I can find it, but from my memory, they had to have something out by the end of 2024. So I think at the very, you know how they've kind of put Pyro in. They wanted to have Pyro by the end, so they've given this preview so they can go, hey, look. We got it in by the end of the year. I think it would be that we might get a beat for Squadron 42 or a level or something like that at the worst by the end of next year. But a whole year of polishing, I could see it for a game this big, absolutely. And is it unheard of on other games? MMOs, but this is a single player game, so I'm kind of hoping it'll be quicker than that. They did say they'll give us the date when the Gold Master is done, but traditionally when a Gold Master is done, that's only a month from release for most games. Let's just say...
I think I can remember Lord of the Rings Online took 6 months from closed beta or from alpha to closed to release.
Games were a lot less complicated though back then, Algared, in the olden times, but everything's blown out these days. Like I remember when the standard game from Go to Woe was 3 years, and now I look at Grand Theft Auto, it's like 9 years. It's in the same ballpark of Star Citizen, and even the Call of Duties and the Battlefields, when they were doing the yearly franchises, they're moving them out to alternative years now and stuff like that. And they're essentially just update games. They're not a full-fledged game. They just take the old game and build on it and change all the art. By the way, it just kind of shows you how much of the game is code and not art when they're able to do that. The art is all kind of secondary. It really is, like, most of the work is code. It's kind of scary when you think of it that way. Anyway,
it is. So I fully expect. I think next year or the following year definitely, but I can see next year being done, and that means this IAE or next IAE are going to be possibly the last time to get an Idris or Invictus. This IAE Invictus or the next one, they're going to be the last time to get an Idris before it rises in price.
And you kind of have seen what's coming anyway, so you've got the full preview, so to speak. We've been able to walk around in it for a while, so I think it's just going to push people to get it if they've had their eye on it for a while.
And just look what happened to the Hull C.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect the same increase to the Idris as that.
Hope not.
But the Hull C was a lot older, and the Idris has had price increases before, so the Hull C never had one, so that was probably the difference. So yeah. All right, Dom Dawson question says, do you think the SRV will get a price rise at AIE?
When it releases, yes.
Yeah, every ship when it releases go up in price. Don't disagree. Algared, I'll let you take the next one.
Critic Alki.
Critical Chai. It's a tea, Algared. You should know. How dare you, as a coffee drinker, insult us tea drinkers? That's disgusting. Anyway, keep going.
Because it's tea.
You know I drink
Need I say
chai.
more?
I drink a lot of chai.
Critical Chai says, you think they will take it easy on the alien tanks if they are making it a starter ship?
Yes,
Why?
a bajillion dollars. Yes.
They don't take it easy on luxury ships when they bring out starters.
I think
It'll be the same thing.
it'll just be an advanced starter straight off the bat, won't it? Well,
It's two people, yeah.
So Nomad is pricing, I'd expect somewhere in the $70 to $100 range. I wouldn't put past them at all.
If it's a crap ship, yes, they may, or they'll put nice things in it to make it appeal.
I'm just sitting here going, why do we need another cargo ship at that price point? Like, I just don't get it.
Yep.
If it's got three decks, let's be honest, right? Where does your brain go with 3 decks? Mine goes medium.
Yep.
It would fit way better as a medium ship than as we don't need more starters. It's just absolutely flooded
my
down
brain
there.
goes, if you got 3 decks and it's a cargo ship, you're looking at multiple crew. Like,
yeah,
a starter cargo ship is a hull A.
Yeah. And that's like what, 46 or something cargo. So it's like half of a Connie or whatever. I'd have to double check my stats, right?
Half a
So
Connie.
don't take me don't hold me to the flame here, guys. But that's what my memory is telling me is like 46.
And standard Connie's 96. So.
Yeah, so it's roughly half. I'm averaging it, but you get my whole point, right? It's just like, I don't know. You guys tell me if you think of that ship. By the way, when Leaks reports a lot of this stuff, they speculate. And I know that because of my time when I was working with them, right? So they're not always correct. Well, look at the Zeus. They called it a large ship. And then I told them it's a medium. And then 2 weeks later, they were going, oh, yeah, it's a medium. And again, it's just logic. You can put things together, but they don't take the time to do that. And that's why people call things like the Miro ship a Defender. Which is just... it's the best example of why not speculated video. Have you seen it? I'll link it to you later.
I haven't.
I don't want to say who it was because I don't like to insult people, but it was bad. Real bad.
We all make... I'll just put it down to we all make mistakes.
That's right. But and that's why I said it's a good example of a video why you don't speculate alone.
In fairness, when we're watching that thing, the screen shoes, when the Ursa came up, I just went, it's an enclosed vehicle. That's a G12 coming. Didn't even look at the number of wheels. Didn't even just went, it's a G12.
And I corrected you instantly, didn't I?
And you
said, count the wheels,
and you
bro.
went, no, have a look. It's an Ursa.
Yeah.
It's got 6 wheels. And the second you see 6 wheels, I went,
no.
How could I mistake the Ursa's profile?
And he's an RSI fanboy.
For anything else?
Yeah, and to make up for it, he brought 7 more Ursa. No.
But second he said it, it was that's the Ursa. Yeah, that's not that. Oh, and then it was, be still my beating heart. That's possibly the hospital Ursa, or and then Paul goes just basically exactly the same thing. So So yeah. Anyway, Weepy Sleeper. Yeah, that's how I'm feeling at the moment.
Yeah, I can relate.
Do you think the C1 will have advantages over Cargo Zeus, such as maneuverability and VTOL?
Yes.
Yes.
But you got to remember, a measurement stick or a design area is price, and yes, the C1 does have less features in some areas and and advantages in others, but you are literally talking there is like a $30 price point between the two,
and so that'll have an impact.
Oh, when it comes out, it might only be a $20 price point because it'll go up by $10 when it comes out. So yeah, okay, but again, $20 is $20,
But what that difference is, whether it's just components, whether it's some other characteristic, we don't know yet. So
well, look, what is it? It used to be $20 price point between the roughly the. I'm just trying to give an example: the Aurora LN and the Avenger. So you can see there's a difference there.
Yeah,
and it should be that way.
And that's the type of gap you're kind of looking at that point. So
that said, though, Algared, they did modify the C1 so it can take 2 32SU size containers now. You just put the two in and you walk straight through the middle now. It's a nice little cargo bay. I'm gonna lie.
And of course, the Cargo Zeus has that big problem. As they pointed, as the RSI have said, well, we consider an acceptable risk to make it so when it's fully laden, you cannot reach your components.
That's like being up there with not needing one of the crew. Because if you can't get there to repair the shit,
Yeah.
you could just take that with
You
two
want
people
to
instead.
go risk reward, load your Zeus up fully. You don't need an engineer because you can't get to your components.
You know what I mean? So that's another thing to factor in. It's a risk versus reward. And again, I think a lot of people will not put cargo in those areas so they can potentially access that stuff. But again, in the Jenga or Tetris of placing your cargo, you might not have no choice, or you can't take that cargo. So there's another downside to that ship, as Agrid really rightly points out.
All right, Rusty Pigeon,
Hey,
the Rusty
Victoria.
Pigeon Gaming channel. That's a tongue twister of a name to say when you're tired.
Yeah.
Says, do you guys think there will be a ship for pushing out asteroids like an icebreaker from Argo as capital or so?
It's called the SRV, and the original plan was you could just put multiples of them together and make the bubble bigger, but it looks like the bubble theory has kind of disappeared. I don't know about you, Algared, but...
You mean it's been burst?
So he did that. Yeah, it probably has. But I hope in the future that you can connect them together eventually again. And, you know, almost like Power Rangers, join your lasers together and move bigger things.
Don't cross the stream.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would hope that type of thing as well, because I've always seen the SRVs as being the tugboats, and so 2 or 3 tugboats working to lift a heavy ship out of that map, or help a ship escape a gravity well. They're types of things that you want to I'd like to see in game as things you'd need. So
I just want to add a little correction to what you and I said, and Nova A42 does rightly correct us. There are still some components you can get to, and I assume he's applying to the Zeus. Yes, this is correct. But again, if you're a savvy enough attack pilot and you know the ship you're attacking, you're going to be going for ones that you know that they're going to struggle to repair. Again, every ship is going to have a weakness, and I have no doubt eventually there'll be some app or something like that someone can pull up on their phone and they just smack the ship, and it basically goes inherent weaknesses. You know, and that person can just exploit them. Not only that, there will be people that take them to memory, obviously, as well. Especially as a pirate, that's your profession. Your profession will be knowing all the weaknesses of your enemy.
Well, you know, even Navy, even bounty hunters, you know.
Yep. Just trying to give an example.
And you know, and repair crews, they're going to be looking for how do I, you know, and others are going to be looking how do I defend my ship against, and how do I protect those systems. So knowing your ship is essential to everyone.
Yep.
I think that's probably the best way to put that. But yeah.
I disagree.
All right. Wolf 1916 Meat says the Zeus CL has more shields, double the cargo, and smaller in all listed dimensions. Is this balance the same some other way for ships? Yes. And watch the video and we'll hopefully explain that.
So there was actually an email that dropped that basically, not an email, so it was a Spectrum post that basically talked about how the Zeus had upgraded stats because it had been given a pass where everything else had not been given a pass. And we actually do state that in the video, and we stated in the previous video. It's just very unfair because it makes this ship look amazing. And it's really bad. It's also in really bad taste. Like if you bring out a ship that's new and just do it in a Spectrum post, it should have been on the main page. It should have said the stats for this thing are inflated, blah blah blah. Yeah, because that's bullshit, right? So it increases sales.
It does make it look too good to be true, compared to everything else. And I think that's a sad sales pitch.
I think we're all old enough and ugly enough here to realize if it's too good to be true, it usually is, you know? So
just look at I just, you know, Hayes was one of the first people who said Phoenix is too good to be true.
Yeah.
When it first came out, and within days of it first coming out, the engines have been nerfed. You know, the power plants have been nerfed.
Still doesn't have that.
It still doesn't have its third turret.
Well, no, it wasn't the automated defense turret thing.
Yep. Yeah.
And it probably will never get that. There was something you were telling me about the engines on it would have to be as big as an Idris engines or something stupid. So yeah.
When it first came out and they changed the engines, Ben said, yeah, we had size 6 engines or something like that on it. And he said we had to change those because that would have meant the engines were as big as those of an Idris.
Hmm.
You know, so there were some things they had to change because it just didn't make sense.
Maybe, you know what, Algared, I'm just thinking off the cuff here. Maybe all those Phoenix owners eventually get a bigger, newer ship by RSI.
Yep, it's possible. They you know, it's, CIG did that with Drake.
Mm.
So they created the Buccaneer because of the the Cutlass was supposed to be an agile fighter and it wasn't. So
there's a nice little slot there if you think about it. A Corvette-sized luxury ship by RSI. Just saying. You can have that one for free if you haven't thought of it.
Yeah, well,
CIG.
you know, but a real challenger to the 600. Yeah.
Yep.
So
what's a luxurious name that we could pick, Algared? Phoenix. We'd have to think of a star constellation. I'll have a look real quick. By the way, I was doing that with the new Ursa links, right? And I'm going, well, if it's a new one, they'll probably give it a new constellation name. And the one that kept coming back around was the Virgo. You reckon that could be a thing? The RSI Virgo, and it's like a hospital links Ursa.
I'd have to get a bit of thought. Virgo could work.
Gemini
would work.
But
the RSI Gemini, because it's the twins.
But Gemini's taken. And Virgo is seen as the prominent healer of the star constellations. So that's why I went Virgo.
I could do that.
Yeah.
Yep. If I was going luxury, I'd go the Acrux. Not a constellation, but it's the brightest star in the Southern Cross, which.
Yeah, but you're Australian. It's got an Australian twist, though.
You know, and I am biased.
They're more likely to call it the North Star. Come on, let's be honest. That's what.
Yep, the North Star. That would work.
Yeah.
But yeah, Orion's belt.
Yeah, that would work too. But the Orions are already an RSI ship, so we'll see.
We've answered Luna Maria's question.
Yep.
Red Samurai, what are you two looking forward to this IAE?
It's sleep would be great. Yeah. It really would. It really is usually the new ships, but let's be honest. A lot of the ships that come out these days are really tailored at new people. You know, even that landminer. Why would I want a landminer when I got the Orion? You know, and I'll probably get that one as a loaner anyway. You know.
Yep.
For the earn down economy. If it really speaks to me, yeah, maybe, but I've just never had one speak to me like that. And I think you're in the same kind of boat there, Algared, yeah? You get everything.
And Connor L says the Polaris is the North Star.
There you go. He's technically correct.
They've already taken it.
Yep.
Gone. So yeah, I think it's the ships. I think the ship we think is a landminer. I could see if you got an Orion, that would be one worth having. Just because the Orion is not a landminer, it's a space asteroid planet miner type thing. Whereas something to go down on planets and do that is different. You know, so. Yeah.
Hey, I know what we call it, Algared, and everyone would agree. I just read the star signs. It's this one up here at the top right. It's the RSI Cancer. Works on so many levels. So many levels.
That's what you call a Drake luxury ship. Because it'd be a steal. Yep. Okay, Wolf 1916 meet. CL and Zeus comparison. Zeus being smaller. We've answered that one. Watch the video. We'll get to it.
Yeah.
RB question. Do you think we'll see the full Pyro system release in a testing channel before the end of the year?
Fingers crossed. I don't know. It depends how much they showed in the preview to how much they've actually done. Because, like as I said, a lot of the stations are exactly the same. But I think that's they've deliberately done that to save things. So they just want you to get in there and kind of test it. And then, you know, it was crashing a fair bit too. You know, we'd get crashes and stuff. And yeah, but you know, we'll see. Fingers crossed. You know, Algared will agree with me when I say, you know, good things take time, and I'm happy for them to take that time to make it better. You know, or we get things unforeseen consequences like persistent entity streaming, which was, you know, when so many normies turned up to look at that, which is also why I think they did it on a preview channel, by the way, because it removed a lot of the normies trying to get in. Because with persistent anti-streaming, there was just a shit ton of people trying to get in. They weren't prepared for that. Like, big patch for Star Citizen, but it was a really quiet time of year. So just, I saw content creators that I'd never even seen covering the game that had, 2,000 to 3,000 people streaming, and they were just sitting there in queue for hours streaming a queue, and so it was bad blood. So yeah, they don't want a repeat of that anyway.
No, and I think there is an element where you want the game to be good, and you want to be able to test it and do the other stuff, but you also want people to be able to see what you've done. So I hope that what we've got currently is not the polished finished product, and I think that the number of bugs we're seeing and other things says it's not. But yeah,
Waffle Insanity has not a terrible idea. He's saying that he reckons the Sulian, if it comes out, could be a data runner, an alien data runner. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's a medium profession ship. I'm more inclined. I don't know. You tell me, Algared. Out of all the lineups, the medium is the ones that need ships, right?
The medium is the one that's empty.
Yeah.
We could always use more medium ships.
Well, we've literally gone from 2 to 4 this year. That kind of and the Apollo and the Mole and a few others.
Well, if you're talking general ships,
general, it's
2 to 4. If you're going the profession starters as well, then it does balloon out.
Yeah.
Certainly when we were looking at the medium ships, I know we'll put that caveat in now. We didn't look at the profession starters. We just looked at those general, but the ships that the general cargo ships and the variants that come off them.
That's it. Yeah, and we do mention we talk about the Apollo briefly and compare it to the Red and stuff like that. But we could bring in the moles and stuff, but it just made it muddied the water, and there was no direct competitors to the ones outside that, so we left them off. But yeah, I'm more inclined to think it would be a medium profession starter. And again, data running would work. We don't have a medium data runner. Though, ironically, the MSR would have been that back in the day. So yeah.
And so having a ship in that, doing that would be good. I will say, because I know people, I did see comments on one of the videos where people were saying they hate that you say, hey, Al, you will agree with me. And I hate that you're putting words into my mouth. And if we didn't work so often together and talk and bounce ideas and off each other all the time, yes, it would be absolutely and utterly annoying. But 9 times out of 10, when X says that, it's because it is something we've actually talked about.
Yeah, or I know him well enough that he will. And if he didn't agree with me, he does speak up and say, no, I don't.
You're an idiot. No.
Yeah.
And Badgers will tell you there have been times we've been chatting. I don't like when Mummy and Daddy argue.
Because we get heated, but Badgers doesn't get heated like we do. So yeah,
no, he runs away and hides.
Yeah.
So while it may come across that X is at times just speaking on my behalf, it saves time.
Yeah. And we'll say things like that, but we'll also say things like, I think you'll agree with me, if you're not sure and stuff like that. It's
and when he says I think you'll agree with me, or you'll agree with me, or take that in the same vein. It's
of me asking.
Yeah, and it's just another way of asking. So it's not, I will say it's not. It may come across that way, but it's speaking on my behalf, but it's actually, it does, I see it as doing 2 things. It saves a little time, but it also just sums up conversation we've had in the past. And if I disagree, I do say no. So yeah. So I did want to say that because you did do it a couple of times there, and I know we'd seen the comments. I'd seen the comments saying, don't do it when he does that.
I haven't seen them.
So yeah. Anyway, ARB has a question. Do you think we will see the full Pyro system release in a testing channel before the end of the year? I think we were just answering that one, so I'll go on. Weepy Sleeper, do you think the 3rd version of a cutter is a snub for the Reclaimer? No.
Not anymore. We got John Crew to confirm it. Last live stream he actually replied and said, no, it is not, because, and the reports I got from people that were there, that Chris Roberts said the name Cutter was too cool for a snub. It's official. Snubs have shit names. Quote Chris Roberts. Merlin's a shit name apparently, as is Archimedes. I'd agree with Archimedes, but Merlin not so much. Anyway.
Well, Merlin is named after the Merlin engine that was in the.
It says, yeah, but it's also means the Pisces is shit. Pisces Medical. Chris Roberts hates it.
It was too good. It was too good for a.
Gotta have a shit name.
But then that's okay because I can live with that because I always hoped that the Redeemer would have, not Redeemer, Reclaimer would have a Ripley's power loader as a snub.
Well, we'll see.
So maybe.
We'll see.
But yeah, I could even cope with an MPUV with floor. So yeah.
Next question is by Mongrel Mo, but we actually already answered it. Yes, expected price increase for SRV. Absolutely. Every time a ship comes out, it's going to go up. It's just that.
Northern Sarcasm. How do you think they'll do with updating current ships like the MSR? Slowly,
and go past them all, and obviously the more newer a ship is, the less it has to have done to it. So going back to do something like the Retaliator, which is the first ever big ship in game, is a huge undertaking. But they'd also be learning as a part of their ship pipeline how to do that for all the other ships they've got to bring up to speed. So it's taking that and putting it back through the same pipeline. How long does it take to bring something up to speed?
Yeah.
Like initially it was 6 months. I think it's blown out to 18 months. But I think they've taken their time with that to teach themselves and then make everything else after that quicker.
And I think that whole losing a whole lot of the key people, which has delayed the BMM, is actually helping them streamline their training and building a staff, most of it, and
agree.
So yeah,
and they did go. They said they went on a hiring. I don't think they called it a hiring spree, but they got a lot more people, didn't they? They went out and got a lot more.
I got that impression from the ship panel episode where they said we lost people. We've now kind of picked up that team. I saw a comment from Paul where he said, "I was at space." Where he went back and said there are only 28 of a team of a crew of 1,000 in the company. So that's not a lot.
You extrapolate that out, you can see they're not big teams working on these things, and that's why you can't just take one person and put them all on this. I don't know. Some people don't get it, but that's all right. That's one thing that I have liked about this project is teaching people how game development works and why things take time. Good life skill. Works across not just game development, but it works over other industries as well. Like, everything.
Yeah.
Any form of research, really.
Salty dog is a salty dog indeed. And he says, or they say, do you believe that we'll get an unspored surprise straight to flyable IAE? Possible. Happened before?
Kind of think not, to be honest with you. And the one thing that is actually missing is the was it the PTV? Or the UTV?
Yep.
No, UTV. It was utility. So the utility vehicle that was from Greycat that they showed last year.
Yep.
We haven't got that, and it's not on the list. I don't think they worked on it. I think they were intending to work on it, and something changed. So I think that's been kicked. That's been kicked down the road. I was looking forward to it, actually. It's probably not the best vehicle that we need right now, but I would have taken it over the X1. Don't know about you, but I would have taken it over the X1.
If I was saying, I'd say no. Possible, yes. Because we've had unseen surprises of ships or vehicles in the past where they've popped on us and we've said, wow, we didn't know that was coming.
Yeah.
So they have done it. But
Laid Back Geek on Twitch says, won't we get the Drake Cutter variant for AIE? Yes, we will. And again, he was talking about unspoiled though, so that's been spoiled. There's and with the RSI minor, there's nothing that's not really accounted for. And again, look at the number of ships and stuff like that. There's again, generally you tend to only get 3 ships, right? So you do the math. We've got an RSI minor. We've got the cutter and probably one more, and I can't remember what was the other one. You're getting a lot of other ships going in. You can look it on the roadmap this week. I'll bring it up. There's a whole bunch that is coming for AIE. Give me 2 seconds, Algared. Roadmap. You don't need to know the question. I'll just.
So Mongo Mo says, sorry.
No.
I mean,
he's
got a super chat.
Yeah.
And he said, in fact, I think that means that's his 10th super chat. So thank you, Mongo Mo.
Damn, that's crazy.
I've got to pay attention to those numbers now.
Yeah.
Just realised what they mean. All right. So he said, sorry, I mean, what is the expected increase? 5, 10? And you'll have to give us a bit of context.
Oh, SRV. No, his question was about the SRV.
All right.
Probably
so
10. It's
increase?
usually 10 to 15%, right? And being in that price point, it should be $10. There are exceptions to the rule, though. Look what happened to the Vulture. That thing jumped by what, $30? So it's supply and demand and popularity and what marketing can think they can get away with.
Yeah, and look what happened to the whole C. You know, we were expecting. I think we thought 75 max. 70, 75 max, and it was 150. So
yeah,
doesn't always work.
So that's kind of what I wanted to show you. So we've got these are ones that you can kind of assume we're getting at AIE or shortly after. So Santucci, Origin, and all the Origins. So there's 2 straight to flyables. Plus we know we're getting the C1 and the SRV. So I'm assuming that is for after AIE, and the C1 and the SRV is for AIE.
No problem, Mongo Mo. He said, thank you.
Yep.
So, yeah, anything's possible, Salty Dog, but at the moment we'd probably say no. Broken Eye says, how much do you think the RSI miner will be war bond and store credit? My guess is 395, war bond 415. Yeah, sounds good. Your guess is as good as ours. I'm not even going to try because I haven't seen it yet.
I think we can safely say, or you tell me this, Algared. Unless the Orion gets a price increase, it has to be under the Orion.
Yep.
And that's 575.
Yep.
What's the mole? 315.
Yep. So
there you go.
Between 315
and 575. So I'm going to just, like, if I was going to place my bet, somewhere in the $400 to $500 range. That sounds like
right bang in the middle.
Yeah. Let's go 450 and see where we land.
And that'd be unless the Orion, they say, oh, well, the Orion needs to go up in price because it's such a big ship.
Yeah,
it's $1,000 ship now. Okay, now it's 500.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I don't disagree. Yeah. I don't. Yeah. I think 450 is a safe bet, right around that area, but we'll see. Next one, Algared, when you're ready.
Critical Chai.
Oh, he got it right. He can read. Right.
See? No, I learned from my mistakes. I'm really AI.
Yeah.
Can the raft attach and detach those cargo boxes?
Yes.
I do believe it can, and not that I've seen it do that, not that I've tried to do that.
They've done it with tractor beams.
But I have been told that even the Aurora can now attach boxes to its undercarriage.
Nice. That's cool.
So it can take 212 SCU boxes, apparently.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I do need to go in game and check, because and if that can do that, I'm also assuming the Mustang Alpha will be able to do that. So
if not shortly, though, yeah.
So if not now, then shortly.
Actually, speaking of cargo, do you know what was a real interesting thing? The SRV now has, I think it's some amount of cargo, and it's more than the Vulcan and the Vulture. You know how they've got 12 SCU? It's like 18 or something. I can't remember the exact number, where it didn't have that amount of cargo before. It's got this little bay that drops down with a magnetic plate on it, and you just you can't see it while you're in the ship, but it's just this thing underneath. They've just added it to it because there was enough space to do so.
A small amount of internal cargo.
Yeah, which kind of makes sense, because like repair parts or maintenance on your ship. But it's a lot. It's a lot more than a Vulture. And the Vulture's 175, and this is currently what one was it 150? I think at the moment. So, yeah.
Waffle Insanity says 10 SCU.
10 is it? Oh, that's still good. That's 2 less actually. I got it wrong.
A little less than a Vulture, but that's still good for a ship that
didn't have any. So yeah. It was originally 10. Are you serious? I missed that if that's the case. Let me double check that.
I always thought it didn't have much. It didn't have any because it was hauling stuff, but that's just me not remembering.
Yeah, I'll double check. Let's have a look.
Matt P says SOV always had 10 SU. Yes,
Okay.
quite a few people are saying that. So
all right, something I missed then. But I don't.
Vulture is 12.
Yeah, I tend not to look
yeah,
up.
we knew Vulture is 12.
Okay, good to be proven incorrect. Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised by it.
I suppose. Yeah, I suppose I would have expected it to have some, because I for a moment there I was getting mixed up with the raft. I wouldn't have expected the raft to have internal cargo because it's basically hauling boxes.
Yeah.
And the question even had me thinking raft.
Yeah.
But the SRV, given that it's just a tractor beam tug ship, I could see it having a small amount of internal cargo. So if it didn't have it, awesome. People are saying it does, but yeah. Okay. Anyway, I'm starting to babble.
No, it's all good. Yeah, it's hit me too. We've got an hour to go. We're 2 down. We've got 1 to go.
Yep. So 4 more minutes to get your questions in. 4 more minutes for closing off the bot.
We've only got a page. Shit, we've actually got like 2 pages. Yeah, we might. Okay, so just so you're aware, Algared did say at the start he wants to really cut this off because he's tired. I'm tired as well. So if there's questions left over when we hit the cutoff date time, we just won't be doing them today because we're both tired. So yeah, I'll just call that now. So I will turn the bot off at probably maybe 15 past the hour, Algared. Right. Anyway, next one.
Okay, we're going to race through these. Let's go.
No,
Okay.
no.
Dr. Reanimator says, once ship munching arrives, do you think that it will be possible to disable a ship and munch the vehicle with its crew trapped inside?
No, because you've got to strip out the components like fuel and ammo and components.
Because if you don't,
or it'll explode.
You get big bag of boom inside.
Yeah.
The CIG have always said that. You've got to empty the stuff that can go bang. So, would it be possible? Yes. Will it be dangerous? Yes. Will it destroy you? Probably. Demonic. Question.
And say hello to everyone.
Does the rock still, or will it? Luna Maria, don't sleep. Inforunners do impromptu 24-hour stream to use the Paul. Yes, that'd be.
We need to get our sleep so we can actually go stream with Paul on the weekend.
That's right. I'm joining Paul, I believe, for the first 2 hours of his 24-hour live stream for tomorrow. So yeah, and then Execute bookends.
Yep.
The live stream. So okay, Demonic. Does the rock still, or will it still have fit in a Nomad with a tractor beam added in the PTU? Good question. I don't know.
No, I haven't tried it. Sorry, I can't tell you.
Haven't tried. It's something we will certainly try and do and let you know.
I do know people were picking them up with it, so I'd have to assume yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And you couldn't rotate things with the ship tractor beam yet either, but that seems like it will be a thing because there's a left alt click button thing there for it. So I think they're going to allow you to rotate things with them as well eventually. They're just not in on the ETPU right now.
So I was just trying to read chat, but I couldn't make out where the chat had gone in its conversation because I'm only glancing.
It's all about cats right now. That's I'll just tell you. Yeah.
There
you go. First time chatter on Twitch says
that's YouTube. That's
Let me finish.
Twitch chat.
First time chatter on Twitch says the D-Splice, JD Splice says yes you can. So he's saying the Nomad can have the
Oh well, there you go. Thank you.
Yep.
The YouTube chat hasn't said anything about cats yet.
Argo Kitty, Orange Kitty. I'm reading a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, now it's just started. Literally just started.
Yeah. Algared's clearly lagging. That's fine. Anyway.
All right. So Nova 42. If there is an IAE theme color, is purple. Will the primary paint color of the ship showdown be purple? Usually it is.
And I can tell you now, black goes very well with purple. So you'll probably see secondary colors as well.
So Luna Maria says, Algared, I'm not saying don't sleep. I was saying Inforunners do not sleep. Paul confirmed this last time. Yes.
Yes.
There's always an Inforunner awake somewhere. We're like the British Empire.
Yeah. Which was by intent, by the way. We did want to have.
Yeah, that's right. We did always want to be in a position where someone would be able to report on something live. That's something. So that was our goal.
You're too big to hold up like this, you know.
No, it was a question poll you made. Okay. That was TJAC. That's how late we are. 5:58. Andy Benson said, question, I'm feeling more and more that I want a refueling ship for my fleet. How do you feel about the Starfarer versus the Gemini? They're the same ship.
Yeah, and they've
one's
even
military, one's not.
Yeah, if you so in game the Gemini is actually cheaper because it's really just a transporter. But what happens is if you buy the Gemini out of game, you get all the components and bits and bobs to use on the Starfarer essentially. So you can have a Gemini, take all the advantages of the Gemini and put it into the Starfarer and vice versa, which is why the Gemini costs more out of game. So I don't know. It's up to you. Algared, you've also got weight concerns, obviously, with the armor as well. They both have their pluses and minuses. But again, if you buy the Gemini out of game, you've got all your bases covered. You don't have to worry about pick the best of both worlds and merge them together. Yeah. I
know this is something we've talked about in the past, and you know, I've always opted for the Gemini because you get an upgraded top turret weapon, and your rear turrets are size 3s instead of size 2s, and so
and the engines and the armor, and
So you got a long you get that increase in the time to kill versus I don't know.
I guess the real weakness of the Gemini that we talked about was the armor, and so it basically means you may go down to a planet unless you take a lot of the cargo off. You may not come back up. But now the SRV is a thing. Back when we talked about this to start with, there was no SRV. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, you can look both ways. Do you want to save $40? Do you want everything? So again, get the Starfarer and then. This is what I've done. This is literally what I've done. I have a Starfarer and I have a CCE to the Gemini, and I've just sat on them. And I'm just like, well, and when they do the final one, I'll make my choice then.
Yeah, and if you're feeling you like refueling and play around with Starfarer, I'm pretty certain, and I'm going to do what people say you do to me all the time. I'm pretty certain you're going to agree with me. We think there'll be a bigger Starfarer, a bigger refueling ship down the line.
No, I disagree.
Or another refueling ship. You know, so
I completely disagree with you. How dare you put words in my mouth, sir? No. I totally agree. I totally agree. Yeah.
But it's either there's going to be that and toy around with it, and if another one comes, you can upgrade to it or keep that one. But yeah, you know. So, Woody. What's your version of an Argo Capital?
I actually had this the other day, and I had it in my head, and I'm trying to remember what it was. Oh, I think it would be the refinery ship, or the gas collector. I think either the capital refinery or the capital gas collector would work well as an Argo. Well, because technically, isn't the Orion a capital? So technically, we do have a capital RSI ship. We have a capital Endeavour. You see where I'm going with this? There are actually ships out there that are like sleeper capitals that we don't really look at.
Given that Argo in law were the mob that kind of initially maintained the transit system, and then moved into doing ships that supported the logistics of getting things up and down. I could see them being a capital ship, could be a repair ship, or even a base building, road building, that type of, a logistics type support ship.
Never even thought of a road building ship, but yeah. Well, they also have now mentioned space station building as well. Again, all the Argo ships work around space stations. Why wouldn't they build them?
I could definitely see Argo doing something like that, just based on what we've done in the past in terms of that logistical support and building, maintaining those. So Mars is public transport system is built by Argo. I wouldn't be surprised if the train system on either Microtech or
So I just
built by
got
them as well.
Yeah, so Shenpaster's saying Endeavour is in capital, but that thing is so got to grow. By the time it grows, if it's not capital, I'll be really surprised, mate. It like I think the minimum we worked it out was 420 meters, which makes it longer than the Kraken.
Right, I always just point out the size of the hangar.
Yeah.
The hangar module for the Endeavour is built to fit 2 Cutlass Reds. That is 2 size 3 pads.
Yeah.
Have a look at your Kraken. That big large pad on the side, that's made for 2 Cutlasses.
Yeah.
That's how big that hangar has to be for the Endeavour. Then compare that to the hangar module on the Endeavour.
Also, there are the things that break the rules that they've stated too. The Reclaimer is a capital. It is a large ship, but it is a capital because that's a capital class component. You know, so they are essentially when they put in a capital class component that's bespoke for a capital ship, it is to lock it into things so it can't go higher than it needs to be. So let's look at the 890 jump and the Reclaimer. The 890 jump has a bespoke engine because that means they can set what they want it to be and you can't stuff with it. So if they want that thing to have a weakness, they can put in or a strength. By the same token, the Reclaimer has a bespoke power plant, and in game right now, you cannot put 3 of the best shields on it, and I forget their name. They elude me. They're the FR ones. It'll only allow you to put 2, and then you've got to put a 3rd lesser one on because they don't want it to be too tanky, and that's how they've done that. They could have, I guess, in a way, give it bespoke shields, but obviously down the line, there's other power things that you're gonna have to work with your power draw. So they're putting a weakness in. Anyway, you get my point.
I just decided to have a quick look at the Endeavour. There's an Endeavour. Let's see if they listed in the early days on the Matrix Alliance whether it has any capital components.
It won't be there. No way.
And it has a capital quantum drive, capital jump drive, and capital fuel tanks.
That's a capital.
That's a capital. Even at its current size, just based on the Matrix Alliance.
Yep.
So, there you go.
That thing's a capital, as far as I'm concerned. But anyway, we'll see.
Based on the way they've described capital ships in the past, it is a capital ship because it's got capital components. All right, Ozuguru says, did your perspective of RSI Galaxy change in any direction after the base building panel and CitizenCon? Not
one iota, because I knew what it was. I knew what that module was. There was certain content creators that were like, "Oh, I can build bases now," but we knew that because we stay informed. There was a big streamer. He'd probably be, I don't know, last year was equal with me in streaming. So he goes, and so that's now a thing in a video that he dropped out, but it was always a thing. And I know for a fact from talking to this person, they're very much caught up in the now, not in the release stuff. So that's why it would be a surprise to them.
Well, I gathered that from things that I saw or regarding reactions to certain things.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, no, it didn't change my perspective of RSI because, or of a Galaxy, because I'm just an RSI head.
Yeah, and you were informed too. You knew that was a base building module, did you not? Yeah.
I knew there was a
manufacturing
and base building and all that stuff was tied into it. And
what they call it? It was surveying and fabrication. So just like how exploration has pathfinding and expedition and that, it's the same thing. It's got now it's manufacturing. It's got surveying and fabrication, and this might even be a 3rd one down the line.
Yep. So, but it didn't really change my view of RSI or that ship because it's RSI.
Oh, I just realized, Algared, does that mean we're going to get a... Wow. That... So I just had a light bulb moment, right? If the Pioneer is a building ship...
Land-based ship. Yeah.
land, and then they're going to make another one that builds in space. Is that a whole nother series, or does it just mean there's one ship bigger than the Pioneer? Holy shit. I'm like going Argo space station builder, and it's like Kraken-esque. Like, that is a big ship. That is a huge bitch. That thing is massive. And like, how does that fold out and like build in space? Like, that is massive ship. You start to work that out in your head.
The other thing is, when I think of the early stuff from the rest stops, the very first rest stop was a abandoned scientific platform that the company bought and moved to the location I wanted and then refitted. And so I could see base stations being built by ships being towing components to the area and then being joined together. I could see them being built on site with all the bringing the materials and bringing it in. I could see them being the options are just a plethora of different options that they could go. So,
well, this is what I put it back to you though, like to go the other way, a whole new fleet of ships, and I think that's the way they'll more likely go. So you've got ground builders and space builders. So you might have.
What I was going to say, the plethora of ideas of how to build, which means that's a plethora of ships because you can do one for each of those types of things. So 100%.
And I've just kind of had a realization too, is next year we're probably going to see a lot of concepts and potentially straight to flight ready manufacturing ships.
I could see that if they're changing the way they the Argo DS9, yes. But yeah,
and modules like too.
Yeah, and you'll see space station modules, and if they're doing base building,
Carrack or Javelin, maybe. Building turrets for defense with a Javelin in space, kind of like the Nautilus. And you actually no, I just thought the Nautilus. A mine module for the Javelin makes a lot of sense.
Yep. Looking at the different ships of the.
But building shelters with a Carrack, I can see that as a thing. You know, like being able to craft and build things like humanitarian aid, and that ship is out on its own a lot. Makes a lot of sense to me. Manufacturing for the Carrack.
You'll remember that people used to talk about dropping the science modules off from a Carrack as an outpost.
Yep. Why do that when you can build one?
Yep. Well, because there's nothing there yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could say a whole host of things. I was just thinking to the idea of Synth World or Operation Archangel, which is the effort by the UEE to build a fake planet, basically a Dyson sphered planet or whatever you want to call it, so they don't have to terraform world. And if they're doing that, then that's basically base building on a massive scale. So any of those ships they have, you'd expect to see around that project as well. So
Death Star. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's deep. That's if we decided to go deep into that.
We've hit our copium limit. That's it. We're done. All right, next question.
We're done now. All right.
You ruined it for everyone, Medical Sans. Right, next one.
Yeah. So Clifford Walgamot says, would the Pioneer be able to swap out modules to some ships? As you said, you need to go to a manufacturing location. I think we said you need to go to a shipyard.
And I don't think he means he means privateer, not pioneer.
Yeah.
He means, yeah. So you need to go to a Drake or Cousin Crow's.
No, I think he was meaning pioneer because of the fact that it's a manufacturing plant.
But there's no modules in a pioneer.
Yes, but he's meaning you've got your module at that. You take the module to the plant. It then swaps. Act like a shipyard. I think it's the idea he's picking up.
So you use the Pioneer as a shipyard? No.
Yeah, no. And just doesn't matter which way you look at it. The answer's no.
Yeah, it's just a very confusingly worded question and confuses me greatly.
But yeah.
But I think we've answered every way we could possibly answer it.
Yeah. The answer was no.
And they're all no. Yeah.
Right. Doesn't mean we're right. No, but the best way we can look at it is to say that that's a no. Jamie Page.
When you have to speculate on how to answer questions, it shows you how good we are at speculating. Anyway.
Yeah. We've got speculation down to a fine art.
Yeah.
Did they originally plan for the Galaxy to be a construction ship?
Yes.
Yes.
If you go, I will show it, and this is how it proves that a lot of the other content creators don't do their research very quickly. I will. What is it? It's Galaxy concept.
They had the three modules that came with it, or you could get. So you could get it without a module. You could get the other three, and then there was a
So this is literally the RSI when it loads. Is the RSI concept page? You scroll down. Here's the cargo module, medical bay, refinery, and others. You read the others. It says manufacturing and other modules coming at later date. Manufacturing. It's right there. But the thing is, the disconnect for most people was they didn't realize that base building had changed to manufacturing. And this came out about 6 months after the Pioneer originally dropped. And it was in a Spectrum post or some shit, so it wasn't official channels, and that's where the disconnect is, right? And so when the base building for thing this dropped and people were like, what? It just showed you that some people
didn't pay attention to
not just attention, but it just shows you how some people don't do as much research as others, and that's the advantage of having different content creators. Some are more like me and Algared, data driven, and others are more personality driven, and you can go to who you prefer. I think that's why we might have smaller numbers in subscribers and stuff, but when an actual event is on, a lot more people turn up than, let's say, a female content creator, because they are more personality driven. I'll leave it at that. I think that covers it. Unless you want to add to that, Algared.
No, I'm not going to add to that. I'm going to let you.
I am going to die for that one, but that's fine.
You're going to die. You're going to die on a hill alone for that one.
Yeah, that's fine.
Jamie Page. We've answered Jamie Page's question. Jodimo says, "Do you think the Galaxy getting manufacturing module?" So you started to answer this one. Do you think that with the Galaxy getting a manufacturing model, that the Javelin will also get manufacturing module for possible player ownership of ownable space stations?
I didn't answer that. I just okay. No, it could be. Yeah. Build turrets. Build defense turrets. Build sensory. Well, you know how it's kind of a bit like the Nautilus, how it can drop sentries and stuff off. But if you could actually build turrets in space, that'd be sick. If you think about it, you know, so you could build a defense platform with the Javelin. That makes a lot of sense to me. You know,
I think that would mean Hurston Dynamics would have a ship.
Yep. It also
Hurston Dynamics. One of the things Hurston Dynamics is known for is the development of defense platforms.
Yeah. Well, again, if you're going to have a space building, why wouldn't you have a ship that can build defenses? So akin to what the MCV is, the RMCV,
or a ship that deploys those bigger platforms. So
just you have one that you got different size buildings. You'd have different size space station or in space buildings. So the smallest one is probably just building defenses. So yeah. And that's all modular. That also works too from the ground perspective, like with the J's, Whizzes, and the turrets that you have around the bases they've shown at outposts and stuff like that as well. It'd be just taking those and essentially putting them on a rotating or aiming platform in space. It's using tech they've already got, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and that ties in with what Sorry? I'm trying to remember the dev's name. One of the higher ups was saying once when they were talking bases, and he said basically land bases are just the same as space stations, but they were talking the space station tech and the way they were using
room tech.
And they were using the room tech and all the rest of it. And he said what we've got on the space station is basically no different to what we do on the planet. On a planet, it's just
and you could roll that out to bunkers as well now, because it's essentially a room system. Is just what is container is the rooms in? Is it underground? Is it inside a building? Is it inside a space station? Is it inside a ship? It all translates. It's just rooms. And I actually think if you actually start to think about it, I did think about this a long time ago. If you actually get to much bigger ships, right, and you've got a really good detailed out art library, couldn't you actually use the room system to
Yep.
start to build sort of speeds up the production of building ships, because then all you have to do is the outside, but then they're not as bespoke anymore. That's the downside.
I will say that years ago I said player-owned space stations, and I was called, and people called me an idiot. And
well, we did a whole episode on
it. They said I was dreaming.
But you and I did a whole episode on it, and it didn't get a lot of views at the time, but we caught it ages ago. God, it must be like 3 or 4 years ago we did that episode now, and we spent months on that. We spent like 2.5 months on that episode, like nutting it out, and it all looks like it's coming true. Yeah.
So
super chat there, Algared.
And Atlas Gaming says with a super chat, if you're watching, this is on YouTube. If you're watching and don't sub, hit that sub button. So like, subscribe, and hit that sub button.
I'll do that for you. Look, here we go. Yeah,
just
like, subscribe, and bring that notification bell. And you can hit the dislike button too if you dislike it, because that's all engagement. Yeah,
we don't care because it feeds the algorithm.
Yes.
But thank you that super chat to plug our subs.
Appreciate it.
First time for everything. Paying us to do an ad for us. Awesome.
Right, I'm going to chop the bot off now because we've got 40 minutes left, and we've easily got enough questions to cover.
All right, Jodamo, do you think the Galaxy... Oh, we've done that one.
Elaine says, question, when do you think you guys start the YouTube channel? Wait, when did you guys start the YouTube channel? Also, do you think the Zeus 3-in-1 pack is a good deal? Because it sure looks like it. We didn't start it, ironically.
We inherited it.
We
joined as members.
We joined at the same day, and I think it was like the 28th episode we came on and guests and just never left. And then by around 75 episodes or something like that, they got me to do it instead because I had more free time and I had higher artistic skill. And Hayes was very jealous because I picked up the program and within 2 weeks was using it better than he was. But that's just because my background of software development, and I'm very good at picking up stuff like that. And then they kind of just dropped off as time went by, and that happened. The exact same thing happened with the previous thing I did, which was Star Signal. As people get older, they're like, this has just been going for so long. One of them had a kid and moved state. The other got a new job and moved state, and so they dropped off on Star Signal. And a very similar thing happened here with Dyson and Hayes. Dyson kind of finished studying and then went and did radiology, and a similar thing happened with Hayes. So we inherited it. As for the second part of your question, which was the Zeus, Algared, I'll let you answer that one. Is the 3-1 pack any good?
Do you think the Zeus 3-in-1 pack is a good deal because it sure looks like it? Well, I bought it, but then you could probably pick up those ships cheaper by using Warbond CCUs and.
But generalized advice is no, it is not a good deal. You should be getting a big ship that combines all those prices together.
If you're looking at getting the best value for your buck, try go bigger, or buy three LTI tokens and CC up to those ships. Yeah, and you'll save money.
But you do whatever you want. That's just, we have to give you generalized financial advice, right? So Algared clearly doesn't follow his own rules.
No, I never follow my advice. I don't follow the rules.
Yeah. So yeah, he's a rebel. He's really the pirate between the two of us. You can tell. By the way he's dressed.
Yeah.
He's my butler. No, anyway. I'm going to pay for that one later.
If you're looking for value for money, no.
Yeah. No, there's this.
None of the small ships are really good value. Do you get a saving with that? Yes. Compared to buying those ships. But a bigger ship would probably do you better. Depends on, it comes down to what you want to do and how you want to do it.
So, in Twitch, Zombil Bliss says the Zeus stats are a bit uncertain. No, they're not uncertain. They've had a pass and been raised. All the others haven't been. So it's all the others that are uncertain. It's the opposite of what you're thinking, Womble.
But it makes it hard to do the analysis of it because we don't know where it sits in comparison to the others, and that's
Ashra,
That's where the problem is.
sorry, Ashra, I know you're in Discord. Can you hear me? Ashra, can you try and find me the post that was talking about that? I think it was from Mark Abent or something like that, where they talked about the Zeus has had the pass, but the others haven't, just so we can show that on stream. Or if anyone has it, can you link it in stream and we'll bring it up so everyone else can see? It's a Spectrum post. I can't remember. I think it was Mark Abent. I could be wrong. So yeah, if you can find that, and we'll show it for everyone. Or link it to me on Discord. There we go. Right, Algared?
That kind of answers your question, Elaine.
Yep.
If you want more of a fix my fleety type thing, hit either X and I up and we'll work out a time when we can do it.
Oh, hey, guess what? I found out Gacho needs to fix my fleet. He was trying to say, I don't want to fix my fleet, but I need to fix my fleet. So we have to reach out to Gacho. He's finally have to come on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see that occasionally. People say, I really need you to fix my fleet. Jax for Giggles is saying he needs to do, even though we've done one with him, he's concerned that he needs to do another one because he hasn't followed the advice. He swallowed the racing bug.
I might have to charge him for this one. Okay.
That's my fault. He swallowed the racing bug.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. DeJocko says $15. Oh, $15 from DeJocko. Did I get that one?
I don't remember that one.
That is on YouTube. I don't remember that one. My apologies to DeJocko if I missed it. Yes, we did. He said, "You're all great. I appreciate the entertainment and info while trying to do work." And then he had the question about the Herald. And
yeah, we did.
So yes, we did do that one.
Right.
Sorry.
Either way. I don't think you're either way.
You got double thanks. Andy Benson, if you're planning an F5 for a Pioneer War Bond, is there anything to do about insurance on it besides drug?
I think Monster Avery might have this. Hang on. I'm going to open it up and see if we got it. Thank you, Monster Avery. And Ashra, I think we might have it. I'll let you know.
So if you were planning to F5 for a Pioneer.
Yeah. This is it.
Is there anything...
Go ahead, though. I already know we'll do this.
So is there anything you can do if you're trying to get a Pioneer with War Bond to help you get it? And is there anything about insurance on it besides? We don't know.
The other thing is, I've heard people go, wouldn't it be awesome if it goes about $1,000? Because if it goes to $1,000 retroactively, they would give you LTI.
Yep.
So
if it goes $1,000, it gets LTI.
I don't think it will though, because it's $850. It's more likely to go to $950, not to $1,000, just based on percentages. And again, 10 to 15%. That's what 185, like 140. So again, at best, it's just under $1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you can get one with LTI, yeah. F5 War. There are ways you can try and do it. Usually I'd say get it in your basket.
Yep.
And then press the buy button at the next wave.
All right. So this is the post that we're referring to. This came out after the sale, and this kind of... So I'm just going to read it verbatim. So it says, "Hey folks, you saw we talked about the Zeus, and you noticed some of the component information seems much larger than seems seen in the ship to date. Part of this has to do with how our ships interact with resource network gameplay and having more detailed vision of our ship balance. Moving forward, this led to us doing an internal component pass to plan out how we intend to bring older ships in line with our current component goals for the future. Many ships will have their loadouts altered, and as a result of this pass, it will help ships to have fallen behind due to our plans evolving over the years. An example of this is the shields on the Valkyrie not being big enough. We have planned to give way more details about this prior to the Zeus announcement, but unfortunately I'm afraid that didn't happen, and I'm truly sorry for that." Well, at least they apologized. I'll give them that. Sorry for that. We aren't quite ready to talk about it yet. We'll give you more details, but it's something we're really excited about, and you can expect it in the future. So we did approach that, didn't we, Algared? And we kind of said in our review we can't fairly compare this based on stats because of this post.
Because of it's up in the air. We know what it's got, but we don't know how it compares to everything else, and that's That's the problem with it.
So yeah, in regards to the cargo comparison, you're correct. At full cargo, the Zeus Mark II does indeed hold more to allow. The RSI has accepted that this will block the access to the ship components, meaning if something goes wrong, you're going to have a hard time doing repairs. For some people, that risk is acceptable, but for others, it won't be. Players have a choice, and they will want to play it safe or push it for bigger profit. And I think he gave
and I think the RSI.
Yeah.
Sales team basically said that. I think they even said that in their Q&A.
Yeah. And now you and I have done a lot of analysis. This is a very unfair comparison. You cannot compare equally the C1 to the CL. It is a different class of ship. It is a generalist versus a dedicated cargo hauler. And that'll come out in the video if you watch the video. I don't want to give it away because it is a pivotal thing that we noticed, and everyone that's watched the video is like, damn, that is true. So we'll leave that for you for the video on the that'll be out Monday for you guys. Wait, did I double check something here? Really quickly. Algared, you can go on to the next question.
So the next question, we've done that one. So Space Sloth 22 says, after the release of the Spirit E1, is it possible, as a possible test bed for personal transport, will the gameplay of making cocktails realistically survive? Do you think about the game loop in? Do you think about that game loop in general and the obvious rework of a Starliner? Wild speculation. Are you welcome? Wild speculations are very welcome, and thanks for the content, guys. Will players be mixing the drinks? Probably not. That's why we've got a mix master. If you had an NPC, could they be mixing the drinks? Probably. May they include a barkeep skill set where you actually get the bottles and pour them in the glasses? Yeah, possibly.
Sounds more like a self-serve machine, to be honest, to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's either self-serve, you get the drink and put it on the tray and take it to them. That's possibly. But will there be a code where we've got a player behind a bar taking bottles and pouring them into a glass to mix a drink? Possible. I can't see too many people liking that, but that's okay.
Yeah, just wait till you see the video. Love Mang 4. You'll see what we're talking about. Or Love Mango, I think that's meant to be. Love Mango.
Yep.
You'll see what we're talking about. It is not fair to compare them because of price points. So yeah, you'll see.
Did we do a sneak peek of that?
No, we did a sneak peek of the other one. And that's what I was doing then when I went in. I didn't realize I'd gone into
You were double checking, were you?
Yeah, well, you could see it, but I didn't realize everyone else could see that. So everyone else just saw what the video is called and stuff like that. If they go back and have a look, and probably a bunch of our other analytical stuff on YouTube. So yeah, that's fine. I made a boo boo, but that's fine.
Oh well, such is life. So yeah, yes, it's a test bed for personal transport. Is the gameplay, does the cocktail making survive? Maybe, maybe not. Is it something players would do? I don't know. But that's as far as I'll go with that. You want to add anything else before I move on?
No, I think it is a test for personal transport. That's really obvious. It's smaller, it's easy to manage, it's more interesting than just a one solo VIP that's going to have a lot more eccentric personality, but it's a lot more that they can handle because there's only 6 of them. It's not dealing with a whole ship like the Genesis Starliner. It makes a lot of sense. And I think we probably will see one like the Genesis Starliner for the medium size, to be honest with you. So yeah. Yep, I'll leave it
there. Raxter, Hull C went way up in price from 350 to 500. Is there some CCUs you can recommend for picking up on the Starfarer Gemini?
They'll drop at AIE and they never let us know in advance.
Unfortunately, we don't know what, Yeah,
and going back and buying older ones, but you might find someone that has, on the grey market, they tend to sell them at about the middle point, so you save that amount of money and they get that amount of money. So if you save up, if it's like $100 cheaper, they'll charge you $50, but you'll save $50. So you might be able to go find someone that's got one in the grey market, or a friend, or another follow org mate that's done the same thing. So yeah, it's the best I can do for you, because it's hard. You can't go back in time and buy things, especially if you went around when it came out. So yeah.
So yes, YouTube chat is talking the dates of IAE. IAE is November 17.
What rock monster did you just swallow? Holy shit!
Yeah.
You went down like 5 levels. That was crazy.
Yeah, I know.
He turned into Grandfather Hurston all of a sudden. It was crazy.
Yeah. So yeah, November 17 to the 30th. Execute is already dreading that. I'm dreading that.
Well, it's 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
It's got to be back to every second day. If that is every day, I am dead. They just killed me. They put a nail in my coffin if that's the case. But if it's every second day, I really preferred it when it was every second day. I just got a bit of a break.
It also gave people who work a chance to be able to get there and have a look as well.
Yeah.
If you worked, you had no chance of getting in to see what was on display or otherwise, just because.
No, I disagree.
So yeah. Bye, Lemming.
Where?
Oh,
he's back. All right, sorry,
he's back. Yeah. Kelraf says, "How do you feel about an Argo medium salvager? Something between a reclaimer and vulture?"
Any manufacturer that's in the
manufacturer
vein could do that.
Ships. Sorry,
it could be another Aegis or Drake even.
Yeah,
and we know that there are outliers. Like the Aegis fell under military industrial, but it was more military.
Yeah. So you want to have a look at that crossbar thing, and then look at the ships in that category, in the different categories. And that will give you an indication of what ships will fill that role and which companies will fill that role.
We'd even get an alien one.
Would even get an alien one.
So, yeah.
Officer Rondog says, thoughts on the price of a Galaxy base builder module will be lots.
Probably the most expensive of all the modules, I'd expect, because they know how hyped it is.
Yeah. Paul Rosso says, I have 2 characters, one I plan being lawful and one being lawless. Does this even matter, since the only reputation gain loss that happens in Pyro is between gangs? Yes, it will matter.
You've also got more universal reputation, like UEE as an example. That'll transfer between systems.
And at the moment, the systems are separate and on different servers, and none your pass, but eventually what's on one will transfer to the other in terms of reps. So,
yep,
100% matters. I've got the same. I've got multiple NPCs, and I've got, I want to be able to do everything or see everything.
Space Pirate Algared confirmed. If you're not wearing an eye patch when you're playing it, I'll be silly disappointed. You'd look good with an eye patch.
Zaxif says, is space trucking impossible in Pyro? I was thinking about getting...
I love how you didn't even answer that. Sorry. I know you too well.
Getting a C2, but now I think I should get an M2. So, is space trucking impossible in Pyro? You've been there? I haven't.
No, I don't think it's impossible. I just think it narrows down on the escorting stuff. And I do think the M2 is where it's at for the Hercules, though. I would agree with him on that. The extra armor, it really is its bread and butter is delivering those large vehicles to ground. And there are other ships that are better at hauling cargo, let's be honest,
So in terms of being a space trucker,
yeah.
In terms of being a space trucker, and he was thinking of getting a C2 for that role, you'd say get a different ship rather than a C2. And then he was saying, but now I'm starting to think I should get an M2 to be the space trucker for the extra armor and stuff. Is how I'm reading that question.
Again, you can start to look in it if you're worried. You want to look into things like speed. So things like Raelians with the blockade running, some of the smuggling ships, so they can't even tell you've got it. Even things like the Retaliator with the hide in deception. If you don't want to go the escorting routes, there are other options, aren't there, Algared?
He who runs away today lives to run another day. Yep. So yeah, it depends, and you've really got to look at what ship best suits you, and just asking that. It's a bit hard. It's just hard to say, oh yes, this is the best trucker for this situation, because it.
Yeah. There's, how many people you're playing with? Are you playing on your own? Are you playing? You're talking about purely solo? Are you going to be playing with a bunch of mates? How much cargo you intend to move? Like, there's just so many moving parts there. It's a difficult.
But I think the other thing that came in was when you started to answer it, you said, oh, the M2 is better for taking vehicles down to planet and doing that stuff. So if that's the type of thing you're looking at it being, then yes.
And how far can the ship that you're cargo transporting with, like, how does it fuel work? And I would argue that the Hercules is not as long range as some of the others, because it's really designed as a drop ship for vehicles. Now you can say that's not the case in some cases, but I would say that there are ships that go further. And again, Pyro is bigger, but again, is Pyro the biggest? Not by a long shot. So the Hercules may be fine. Again, you need to go. There's so many things there to analyze, because we don't know enough about what you want.
Yeah, my gut feeling for space trucking in dangerous space originally would have been the BMM, because it was
absolutely
a big space trucking ship. It's armored.
Yep.
It's got big weapons, but it also has flaws.
Now it's bigger and harder to move and more sluggish. So yeah.
And then you've got the Raelian, which is a similar type of ship.
There's room there for a ship now that's between the Bannermatch Man and like the Hercules, like something that's not as big, and
there were examples in the ships when they first came out of an Idris being used to haul cargo, and I can remember discussions of people talking about using their Idris to haul cargo, whereas the Javelin, even the Javelin release page talked about Javelins being used by entrepreneurs for trade. So basically, CIG's view is you could use any ship. Yep. Some will be better than others at the task. So yeah.
All right, we've got one pages of questions left. I'm going to start asking them, just so we can speed this up a little bit.
And my voice is starting to go, as you've heard.
I've heard. So I'll start doing them for you. Connor L, question. I'm going to try to CC you to a Starfarer this AIE. Is there any reason not to get the Gemini version? As far as I can see, it is faster, and be better armored, and with everything else in the same. We did go over this briefly before, so you may have had your question answered. So that's how my bipolar brain works, if you just told what I just saw there. But yeah, the Gemini basically gives you everything the Starfarer gets, as well as the Gemini, because technically in game the Gemini is a transporter and it's actually cheaper. So if you want everything and don't want to have to earn it in game, the Gemini is the way to go. Yep. Is the short answer. Would you disagree with that, Algared, or would you like to add to it?
No, and if you're looking at CCUing, just pick which one's closer to whatever you're going to.
Yep. Absolutely. What's that? 330.
If you're looking to go away from it.
A Caterpillar is 330. A Gemini is 340. That's a good. Yeah, you could just pick up the CCU and fill in the gaps later, as an example.
Yep. Hawkeye, thank you for the super chat there, and he says, "Do you think we can CCU to the Pioneer now?" No.
I'm hoping that will change. Excuse me. I'm hoping that will change, because now they know more about what the ship is. I'm really hopeful that they may remove the limitedness of the Pioneer, but there's a huge, massive copium on my part. But
at present it's still a limited ship, so while it's limited,
fingers crossed that it gets changed. But yeah, it's the only one that's broken their rules for years, because you're meant to be able to CCU to everything under $1,000. It's under $1,000. We've never been able to CCU to. So, but then again, Pioneer breaks that rule too. Oh, sorry, Phoenix breaks that rule too. So yeah, there are a couple of exceptions.
It does.
Yep. Bad Hog says, when should I use my buyback token and pick up my Pioneer? Do you guys think? Yeah, if you want to do base building, go for it. You know, if that appeals to you, go for it. And when, well, you'll kind of get notice of it coming in the game. That would be when. You know, we know they're doing base building, but they haven't said anything about it. Oh, we've started production on the Pioneer.
Yeah.
So the Pioneer might not come in for, I'm going to be radical here and just make up a number, 10 years. You know, it's not going to be that long, but let's say 10 years. Man, this clip could age badly. But yeah, you know, they'll let you know when they've started production, right? So then when you know, it's a big ship, it's going to take probably X amount of time, you'll have fair warning. So that's when you'll know.
I think just on that, we often take the view, well, I certainly take the view that every sale, any ship could potentially go up. And we've been saying, you know, it's one reason every year we basically say, get your Endeavour, get your Crucible, because every year we're almost confident. It's so
$10 to secure that price, isn't it? So what, you know, just
get a CCU to secure those prices, and that's what you want to do. Now, the problem with the Pioneer is it doesn't have a CCU at the moment.
Yep.
And so if you want it and you want to get it at a cheaper price, then you really need to jump on it, and that's always a problem. Now you could jump on it, decide, okay, I'm going to melt it because you've got it in your buyback, so melt it again. Use a buyback token next year if it doesn't jump. So
right. So I'm just biting my tongue about something someone said in YouTube chat. Anyway, question from Nova42 says, what's the backlog of questions at now? Do you mind sharing? God, that was at 6:20, and we're now at 7:45. So yeah, we're like an hour and 20 odd minutes.
Hour and 20 minutes behind.
Yeah,
but we're not taking any new questions. So
yeah, so you'll be fine.
Unless they're super chats, we don't see them anymore.
Yeah.
So
Focal Berglung says, do you think that the C1 will be viable in Pyro, as do everything? As they do everything ship. Yeah, it's a generalist. General ships are generally good at doing lots of things. I think it will be viable. I think a lot of ships will be viable, but it's how is the enemy playing? How are you playing? Are you working with other people? Are you going around the dangerous areas? You know, again, a lot of that is to be determined because we don't know how exactly dangerous other players are going to be. You know, like it really, the only real difference at the moment is rep. If you think about it, it's, you know, there's no, and the solar flare, I guess.
Yeah.
Right.
I would imagine the best ships to have in Pyro with the solar flare are those ships that have redundancies of systems. So if one goes down, you just click another one on.
Yep. Lemming, calm down, Lemming. Lemming, calm down. He's getting pent up aggression. I can hear it in his voice, though he's got text. Anyway, Nova42 says, what do you think we'll get in Star System from completing Squadron 42, if anything? Do you think the bonuses will vary based on how well we do or what difficulty setting we complete for the game? I think it's reputation based, Algared, don't you? You're essentially getting rep with the UEE.
You get rep with the UEE, you get rep with the UEN.
And essentially they've said you remember they used to say you could drop off at any point, and what you got up to that point you would get. I think that applies ships. So as you go through the game and you're unlocking ships, you would then have access in Squadron 42 to go to, say, the same rep place. So say you turn up to a UEE military installation or something like that, you can go to that location and buy the ships you've unlocked, to the point that it'll probably even show you the other ships you can buy if you go back and finish Squadron 42.
Yep. The other thing I think we'll get is not only rep, but we'll also get citizenship.
Yeah.
Which is kind of rep with the UEE, and that changes things. So if you're a citizen, you can actually do more things.
Clothes, weapons, armor, trinkets, like, you know, what's that suit you like to wear around? Something like that, you know, like a naval uniform of some description. A whole bunch of stuff you could put in there, yeah?
Yep. And one of the things they used to say with citizenship is you could actually have a multi-system company.
Yep.
Whereas if you're not a citizen and you're only a civilian, you could only have a company and a system. So that's a big modifier. Whether they still stick with that is another thing. But
Yeah.
there are advantages to being a
How
citizen rather than
does it go in Starship Troopers? Citizenships provides benefits or whatever. You know that ad? Would you like to know more? You know?
Yeah, would you like to know more?
Yeah.
Tax cuts and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
You know, that's what citizens get.
Yeah. All right. Next one. We're not going any faster than normal. The Rusty Pigeon says, questions. Do you guys think that we'll be able to land data vehicles for data running like the MSR has a bigger garage space for no-fly zones, Cat Orange vehicle? Yeah, absolutely. Every version of a ship that we have now, I expect to see a vehicle of Algared. Would you agree with that, mate?
Sounds good.
Yep. Yeah, go for it. You take that one.
Do you think... don't you get the feeling they are releasing too many ships that compete with each other?
No.
Yes and no.
No, they cross over each other, but they are still unique enough. And in that video that we've got coming on the weekend, that's kind of, we actually compare and show you how there are strengths and weaknesses to everything, and basically it's why the Spirit is not crushed. A part of it is, a real big part of it is the price. It's probably going to be half the price of the Zeus. You've got to wait and see what those in-game pricings are, right? The intent.
Yeah, and that's why we really don't think, you know, people are saying, oh, the Zeus kills the Spirit. No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't, because again, when you're in game and you're grinding up to it, it's going to be like, do I sit here and grind for another 5 to 6 missions, or probably more than that even, or do I just buy that and that's good enough, and then I can just use that to get the freelancer, you know, or whatever, or I can get the Zeus, or I can go, what ship do I go to next, you know?
Yeah.
So
and my answer was yes and no. Yes, they're releasing lots of ships that cross over, but no, because there's not too many, because the more flavor is, the more options you've got, the more choices you've got, and choices matter, and that variety matters, and so yes.
Someone kind of answered that before too. Different systems are going to need different requirements for different ships. Pyro looks like it's going to need speed out the butthole. If you're getting chased, you know, you might not want to stay and fight. But then other ones were like, well, I'll take a different approach and I'll take a more kind of attacky ship and fight my way through. Every different player and different system is going to have different scenarios, and that's why there is no perfect ship.
You got to look at what you like to do and how you like to play, and then pick a ship that suits you.
Absolutely.
And that is whenever we do a Fix My Fleet, that's probably the key thing. We're always trying to do. And I know people say you say the same ships all the time.
Yeah.
But whenever we're doing it, we are trying to line those ships up to what the person wants and how they do it. And so yeah. Matt Millard, DB, B8 says, in the recent Squadron 42 trailer at 22 minutes and 22 seconds, do you think that's the new Gattac ship rumored for release? No, I just think it's a Jean ship.
Which video are they talking about? Is this
so in the Squadron 42 video, I held the line video. At 22 minutes, they show a Jean ship, and it looks like it could, you know.
Is he talking about the hauler one that's destroyed or whatever?
Yep.
Potentially, eventually, I think, but that's a bigger one than the Raelian, not a smaller one. So
it's just a big ship.
And also, look how complicated that is on the inside. That's a capital hauler, that thing. And it was originally pitched as that. Like when the leak dropped, the Disco Lando leak, it was a capital, wasn't an Algared. It was a capital hauling ship by the Zon, or the Jean. And
whether the one we see in profile is the one we see on the inside, because we actually speculated the one in the inside was a Vandal, not a Vandal, Jean ship. No, it was a Banner ship, we thought.
Which one?
No, we thought it was Jean.
We said it was Jean. You could tell when the floor there's that light flash at one point, and you can just see all the innate pieces on the floor.
Yep. And you could see the control terminal as well. And
the control terminal had all these little triangles in it, much like the tail of the Jean. It was clearly not Vandal.
So that interior shot we got of the alien ship was certainly Jean.
Yeah.
Whether that is the same ship that we see in profile, and I think that's what he's referring to at this point, going by memory, Whether that is, or I just go, yeah, it's a giant ship. It does look like a Gatak, so it's probably a Gatak because Gatak are the traders, basically.
Right, I think we have to time out that person on Twitter. They've just announced they have pineapple on pizza. No. Chips like pizza toppings for me. I don't care. I take them all. No. Amber Chuka. No. You can't have all the toppings. I'm just picturing I live next to Domino's and across the road from a Pizza Hut, right? And I'm just picturing all the toppings at once on a pizza. That does not work. But I think if you said all the pizzas, then I can get behind that. You like all the different flavors. Yes.
But pineapple on pizza, that's an abomination. So.
Be told it is very good by a lot of people that have tried it, but I don't like when you bite into it, it explodes and juice goes everywhere and you burn your face or whatever. Maybe it was a kid thing and I'm just traumatized by pineapple.
I personally don't like the sweetness, but
yeah.
Lots of Australians do like it. I know when I first went to the States, my friends were saying, "Oh, we got this new pizza. The Hawaiian, what do they call it?
Hawaiian?
No.
Yeah.
No, I didn't call it Hawaiian. I don't know what they called it. So it's great. And I opened up and said, it's just a Hawaiian. It's just a Hawaiian pizza. What's that?
Do you know how I think we could gross them out, Algared, with a beetroot pizza? Because they don't have the beetroot we have. To them, it's really bitter. So we'll make a beetroot pizza and it would be delicious and they would hate it.
Beetroot on
barbecue. Oof. So good.
Man.
If you can get a can of beetroot that comes in the juice that they kind of make here in Australia, because you guys don't have canned beetroot, and it is just so sweet. It is,
yeah, and a slice of that on your burger.
Yeah,
man,
so good. They actually have a McDonald's burger here called the McOz. So if you can ever get a McOz, you'll know what we're talking about. Yeah,
indeed.
Yeah.
Anyway. Moving on.
Vegemite pizza. Get the fuck. No way. Get the hell out.
Surak.
Yep.
Says, to our knowledge, is there a visible numeric measurement for beams tractoring power according to the tractor beam sizes? If there is, not at the moment. We know there are 3 sizes.
3 sizes. Handheld, most ships, and then SRV and specialty ships, which I think basically when they say that means SRV and Crucible. But they don't want to tell us. But the Crucible has a tractor beam, so you have to imagine being a large or a capital, whatever you want to call it. It's big in the SRV, so they'll have the same thing.
Yep. And I can imagine future Argo ships if they go down that line as well. So,
right, we got 4 minutes, Algared. We're going to rapid fire now. Paul Russo says odds that they turn the reclaimer arm into a beam. No, it's a claw. No. It's got a claw on it. Sluskin Firefox says, any news on the 600i Gold Standard? No. Do we care? No. Right. Algared cares. I don't care.
No, I don't.
It's still going to have the same functions. Who cares? Paul Russo.
Luminaria. No,
relevant. Yep. Shampasta, when the CIG makes ships weight important, I think currently all ships are maxed out like they are fully loaded. Algared, you take that one.
I believe that's the case.
Yep. When they come back around to making weight important, they've never talked about it. So down the road. B Cavalier says, do you think the Galaxy will be more popular than the Pioneer since the Galaxy can have LTI? You can get LTI on the Pioneer, it's just hard to do so. But I also think it's the ship size. Like, it's a lot easier to move a Galaxy around than it is a Pioneer. Plus, you've got the modularity on a Galaxy. So I would tend to agree with your statement. Algared, what about you?
Modularity usually trumps speciality in terms of giving you more value. Speciality, on the other hand, gives you better job.
Bigger bases. And faster, probably faster at building them too.
Yep.
Patrick S. Patrick Stewart, what could there be enough ships to separate large and sub-capital ships into their own classes like large and extra large? Well, they do have sub-capital as a size, but again, we will have to see as that comes down the line because it's never been. I don't know, Algared. There's never been really an official statement, but we know.
It's never really been said. The only thing we've got so far is we've got large ships. We've got ships that don't have capitals, and then we've got ships that have capital components that are called capitals.
But we do have those lines of code that talk about sub-capitals. So, We'll see. We'll see. I think they do. I do think they need to have that as a distinction. Like, it's like how they say there are Corvettes compared to the Idris. How the Idris used to be a Corvette, and then they made the Polaris. So it's definitely moved up a size. You'd have to agree, Agrid. They've just never officially talked about it.
Broken Eye.
Yeah, you go.
Best price guess for RSI mining ship. About 450, we said, because it's right in the middle of where things are at the moment.
Yeah. And you can take $50 either side of that.
Yep.
TM Kingman says, question, when do you think we'll get more ground logistic vehicles? We need a tanker truck, tractor trailer, or tow truck.
We've got a base building vehicle coming, if I have a look at it.
The other thing that I took out about that is it was on a trailer. Why can't, so instead of having a truck for everything, why can't we just have a truck head, like in real life, and have multiple trailers?
You mean like we've got the Endeavour cab and all the Endeavour bits and pieces? Yep.
No, I mean like...
Yeah, I mean, you mean like
a semi-trailer. Yeah.
Yeah, I fully get it. Yeah,
yeah.
100%. Look forward to that.
Would be cool to see that cab on another ship now you mention it.
You know, you do the, and you buy the cab, buy the components for the bits and pieces. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can see it.
Yeah. All right, Shinobi Trip says, do you think we'll get an updated PTV with last year's Best in Show paint as they promised? That was one of the things me and Paul were trying to hold on the flame with, but they are clearly bogged down with Squadron 42 stuff. As you can see, they've been working their ass off. So what do you want? Do you want a PTV skin, or do you want to get Squadron 42 out the door? And I can wait for the PTV. I think we can all wait because we just really want that out so they can start working on Star Citizen and we can have something to play while we're waiting. I think we can all agree on that.
My question is, do you really care about the PTV? And my thought is no. Would it be nice to have it? Yeah, but like you said, I care more about Squadron 42 and the PU than the PTV.
Financial stability of a company. At the end of the day, when we all put our cards on the table, we don't want this thing to fail. So financially, protection first, so to speak. Yeah. Blazor Prime says on Twitch what are your thoughts about the Gataxian straight to flyable mentioned on Pipeline? I didn't see it as straight to flyable. I might have to go back and read that. But I will go back and read that. Yeah. Again, if it's a starter, it's going to be under $100. Like, you can see where this is going. If it's a medium ship, it's 100 to 200.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'd expect it if it's either a starter ship, a starter price, or it's going to be bigger than the Alien.
Yeah, you don't have to go harebrained with this stuff. Lose what we know, use a bit of logic, you'll get there on your own as well. Just always speculate with a friend. And I bring Algared kicking and screaming every time. No. Right, limited respawns. Questions,
He does.
Can you do a quick walkthrough of the SRV and the Storm? We will eventually, and we will do a first impressions and all that stuff, but the SRV is in EPTU, and I don't think it is fair to do one as people have been doing on streams and stuff right now. That's their prerogative, but we won't do it until it's a bit more polished because there's clearly things missing, much like the C1. We'll wait till they go to live, as we usually do, because that shows that that's how they want to present them at that release state. Don't you think, Algared? Right, Paul Russo, question. It seems like the asteroids are pretty sparse out, especially in Pyro. How will the Orion strip mine if they are so spread out? Tractor them in, move around a lot. Yes, it does have tractor beams and things like SRVs and other. The asteroids look astronomically amazing in Pyro, though, compared to the ones in Stanton. And I often wonder, have they already been working some of the tech that will work with the Orion because of that? And I have to think they have, because it's another thing they would have to do again if they hadn't. And we know they don't like to repeat what they do, because it speeds it up if they don't have to repeat the process. So maybe that shows some form of thing that the Orion is coming, like we said, the Orion coming possibly at the same time or before the landmine, Algared. I don't know. You want to weigh in on that one?
Definitely want to see I think the answer to the Orion mining is it'll use something like an SRV to pull the asteroids close to, or it'll use its tractor beams. I think the idea is you set up your Orion and you're basically not moving it, so you're pulling stuff to it.
Yep.
But in terms of when we get it, yeah. If we're working on RSI ships, that idea of the Pyro asteroids being so good looking and looking awesome, it could indicate they're working on it. It'd certainly be nice to see them work on that in conjunction with the other family of ships in the RSI line. But there's also argument for not doing it because it is such a different RSI ship than the ones that they've talked about in that family. So yeah, 6 of one, half a dozen of another. I'm happy for it.
You want to do the last question for me, please?
I'm caffeinated. No, I'm not. So I'm a caffeine fiend, is who it is actually.
Yep.
Says, is the Reclaimer a capital ship then? It's got a capital power plant. That is our understanding. Yes. That's the last question.
Okay. We're gonna raid Space Tomato because we very rarely get the chance to raid Space, but because he usually streams before us, but he is actually
because he's in the States at the moment.
So this is on Twitch. Yeah, he's in the States, so he's in a slightly different time zone. And so we're gonna raid him. Make sure you give him grief as we would. And so yeah, everyone on Twitch, thank you for joining us. We'll get that ready real soon.
So take care, Twitch. Thank you for joining us.
All 59 of you, appreciate it. And look forward to that video on the weekend about medium ship comparisons. It was really eye-opening for me and Algared going through it. All right, here we go. So thank you, Twitch. Say goodbye to YouTube. YouTube, say goodbye to Twitch. And they're gone. Now we can talk about them behind their back, can't we? Now they're gone. Right. With that, yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that notification bell on YouTube. We do appreciate all those tips, bits and bobs and stuff that you guys did for us today. Never, ever, ever feel you need to give us money, but it is greatly appreciated when you do so. We are going to start... I don't know how to put that.
Funneling funds to
the Citizen Con. It just needs to be a thing. So yeah, we'll get into that as well. So yeah. All right. With that, then he's been Algared.
Been Execute, and we're out of here.
Catch you next time.
Take care.